giving you the real surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with your host, Skywalker Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to the Skywalker Morning Show. And of course, I am your host, Will. Come on. Skywalker still. Boom. Oh, we back, ladies and gentlemen. And coming up today, I want to zig a little bit. Well, everybody is zagging, if you will. I got 3 players and 3 coaches that need to work together. We need these coaches to help me, please. Help out these 3 players in improving and leveling up. Because if the Cowboys want to get to where they need to go, they're going to need these guys. And a couple of the players may actually surprise you a little bit. They actually may surprise you, but I do think it is going to be very important for the Cowboys to get the best out of them. And of course, we also have some Cowboys reporting to voluntary workouts yesterday. So the offseason program has officially begun, as well as Dak Prescott speaking. So we'll get into that in the morning roundup. Man, it feels very normal now that having a morning roundup again, because we got some legitimate news, not just making some fugazi stuff up here. So stick around for that. But what's good with your Bomb Squad? How we feeling? How's the sound? How's everything going? Let me get y'all up in here.
Bomb Squad!
How we doing, man? Miss y'all too. Don't worry, we still working. I dropped a video with Foots the King the other day. We talked about the corners. Make sure you guys go check that out. Should be having Zach on here shortly. I know the draft is right around the corner. So all 3 of us, as I've alluded to many times, will be doing at the very least night 1 of the draft. So y'all make sure y'all come through and rock with us. Can I pivot real quick? By the way, shouts out to everybody jumping in here today. Toxic Tom said, tax day, baby. Yeah, you are our resident accountant. So I'm going to need your help a little bit here. Because there's some monies that come into play here. So I was prepping for the show. And I happened to run across a potential player being available, and that potential player being Jalen Ramsey. Excuse me, what? Per Ian Rappaport, let me make sure I read this tweet right here, man. The Dolphins and 7-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he played elsewhere in 2025. Would. Look, I don't want to be that Cowboy fan or creator or media person, whatever you want to call me, that just every big name that pops up is like, yeah, the Cowboy. No, it would. Yeah. I mean, we have no room. What's the word? Or the saying? Beggars can't be choosers. Would. Dallas absolutely should be picking up the phone. Will they? Probably not. It says here that the Dolphins have already paid $4 million in roster bonus, so he's guaranteed the new team will pick up the $21 million. Toxic Tom, my resident accountant. I don't care about the cap. I don't care about the monies. I don't care about none of it. We need dudes. I want good players on this team. At this point, I don't give a damn how much they cost, okay? I feel like, and I said this to y'all many of different, and I am sounding like that Cowboy fan now, right? Like, hey, just $200 million, just spend it all. You know what? If they're not going to just dip their toes in it, then damn it, jump the whole way in. Do something. But in all seriousness, jokes aside, Jalen Ramsey is still a damn good player. He's 30 years old. Yes, he's going to cost a lot of money. I don't think it's going to cost you a lot to trade for him. I want to say the Dolphins got him for like a third and a fifth anyway. And it's at a position of need. It's at a position where you could scratch that off the top of your draft board if you were to acquire it. We talked about this in the last show, right? Where I don't think any acquisitions the Cowboys made eliminates them from taking that position anywhere in the draft, whether that be 12, 44, 76, wherever the hell you want to go. Jalen Ramsey, absolutely takes that need off the board. Get it out of here. You don't got to worry about that until day 3 if you want. Okay? So, yeah, I'm a little passionate about it because I'm on my second cup of coffee here, and I'm still trying to find ways to improve this team before we get to the draft. I am Cowboys Nation. I've kind of morphed into not just the fan, but the analyst. I take a step back from the fandom for a quick second and realize that you just can't get over the hump through the draft. I've said that to you guys for years. You can't. You need to bring in impact veteran guys, and without a doubt, Jalen Ramsey would be an impact veteran guy. And it gives you some options what to do with Deron Bland whenever Trayvon Diggs gets back. And, I mean, I think he'd fit Matt Eberflus' defense greatly. Yeah, I know I'm going on and on about a guy they'll probably never look into, but they've been trading. They just been trading for the lower level guys, right? But am I tripping? Am I tripping for this making a ton of sense for the Cowboys to look into? At the very least, they should look into. Rod Trap said, idea, trade a fourth for Ramsey instead of players like Lance. Yeah. You know, absolutely. CD said, not Lamb. If we had a fourth, might need to get trade back from 12 to get capital for Ramsey. I'll trade a third. I mean, I'm obviously not trading a first or a second round pick. I'd strongly consider a third, though. Strongly. Cap ain't an issue. It's gonna be, do they want to pay the cash? That's true too, Toxic. That's very true. Cap's not an issue to us in the sense that they can make the move cap wise, right? And that's when I'm being funny about the cap. Obviously, I'm not telling them to be dangerous with it, to be reckless with it. But they can be aggressive and smart with it, right? We've seen other organizations do that. They'll scream cap, but in reality, it's cash. 100%. 100%. All right. Enough of the fantasy talk. I don't know. I'll reach out to see what's up. But enough of the fantasy talk. Let's get into this Cowboys talk. And we got to take care of the house first. Let's hit this morning roundup.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
It's been a while since I heard that one. Let me talk to you. Shouts out to my guy LA Knight getting his WrestleMania match. Jacob Fatu, by the way, quick pivot, will be live for WrestleMania this weekend with our guys over at And New Wrestling. Me, Josh, Pat, KD just dropped an episode. I think they dropped it. We'll see here. We recorded it yesterday, but always excited for WrestleMania. Hey, before we get going, make sure y'all like this, share this, drop this in your Facebook groups and chats and Instagrams and Twitters and everything. Let's get this thing going. So the Cowboys started voluntary workouts yesterday, and these aren't, big deals in the sense of them doing a whole lot. But Micah Parsons showed up. And the reason why you can feel the smirk behind the camera here, I just have to smile, is because I know for a fact those big wig networks throwing their pens down. Those drama creators are throwing their pens down. Oh, they were hoping like hell that Micah Parsons did not show up to voluntary workouts so they can talk shit again. Oh, yeah. he doesn't love football. He's selfish and he's this and that. I for years, I've been telling y'all got this guy all damn wrong. You got him wrong. And at the end of the day, who cares if he doesn't come to voluntary workouts? But you know what? I want y'all to give him the same energy you would give him if he wasn't there. Point blank, period. I do think he's making a statement, though. Two ways. Himself and to the organization. To the organization, because I think he's saying, you're not going to play with me. You're not going to use me not being around as a way to string along with these negotiations, right? And play that dirty media politics in regards to media negotiations. Oh, well, I don't know, man. We absolutely want to pay him, but we need to see more him showing up. We need to see more leadership. We need to see, okay, you're not going to play with me. I'm here. I'm going to be here. But I'm also going to be here not because you're not going to play with me, but because it's the right step in the direction for me growing as a young man, a young leader, a young player in this league, right? And I say young, I mean he's 25 years old is what I mean. But as an adult, right? He's still growing. That's just the way it is. He spoke on this a few years ago where I think it was on his podcast, and he said, I've never been put in the leadership role, but I understood looking around it was needed. So I reached out to my mentors to figure out how to do it. And no one gave him grace from that. They didn't care that he never had been thrusted in this, and this was all new to him. He was right. He never had to be that. He was always the best player everywhere he's been, and he just kind of showed up and did his thing, and not showed up lazily. He worked his ass off. He worked hard, and he made guys around him better, but there's more to leadership than actually playing on the field if you're going to be that style of leader, and that's what he was trying to learn how to do. And there's going to be trials and errors in that with Micah Parsons. But no, let's trade him because he has a podcast. Now, Dak did allude to some things when he spoke at his children's fund with Micah Parsons and his leadership and his future. He left out the details, as he should, right? Because that's not our business. But he did say this about Mike. He says, quote, I'm very confident in that guy and what he can do, who he is, and what he wants to do is as important as anything, and that is being a leader. Speaking of that, he also spoke about himself, about his future, about his rehab, and so forth at the Children's Cancer Fund. The big headline that came out was he could play today, right? Dak came out and said, hey, man, rehab's going well. I'm running, and I could play today. Now, it's probably a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but he also stated that the goal was to play 17 to 20 games, not one. So, yeah, could he go out there, drop back, not take off beyond the line of scrimmage? Maybe. But he's right. Let's not rush this thing. Let's get you back, get ready for OTAs, minicamp, mandatories, things like that, and then hit the ground running. Pun intended, because they asked him about his mobility, right? It's been a big buzz thing around Dak since he broke his ankle. I don't think it's any secret that pre-ankle injury Dak and post-ankle injury Dak mobility, you can see that it's different for him. Now, he's never been the Lamar Jackson type. I always kind of likened him to later stages Steve McNair, not early stages, not Alcorn, but later stages Steve McNair. I don't know that we're going to see the tank, the runaway train as a runner beyond the line of scrimmage, right? I feel like he's in the twilight of that, but I do think he can still be scramble guy, make plays. We saw him do it last year in the same game. He tore his hamstring off the bone, by the way. So I do think that's still in his bag. And he spoke about this. He said, quote, me playing my best, I'm mobile. It's actually running past the line of scrimmage or whether it's actually running past the line of scrimmage or just scrambling, making plays happen with my arm so that it's vital for me. That's a big part of this. And he's right. He's absolutely right. I remember 2023, it was a big talking point. They came out and said, hey, man, we're not really seeing a lot of running out of Dak, and then right after the bye week, he was making a ton of plays with his legs, and that's what made it seem like it was baked within the offense that this isn't going to be about him running around and scrambling. It's going to be about drop back, West Coast, get the ball out, boom, boom, boom type thing. And then we saw it explode when they went away from that. Last year, they were trying to go back to pre-bye week stuff. It didn't work out. He started to run a little bit more, then obviously we saw what happened. I don't expect to see, don't hold your breath on Dak Prescott running more, but he knows he cannot eliminate him moving more from his game. If he does that, yes, probably, I don't want to say game over, but you're losing a big aspect of what makes him a really, really good quarterback. You know what I mean? So there you have it, man. My bad if that shook y'all right there. Couple news breaks from our morning roundup. It's been a while since we did one, but Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, I think the two unquestioned leaders on this team moving forward, one on offense, one on defense. I didn't get a chance to speak about it publicly, but we saw the spat that him and DeMarcus Lawrence went through about a month or so ago. And not that it's my business to speak on it publicly when it was going on, but I thought it was fairly obvious in a way that those two guys weren't seeing eye to eye. But now this is Micah's locker room, and he's going to lead in a different way than, say, a DeMarcus Lawrence led, if you will. I'm not saying he wasn't a leader, but I just think he. Let me say this: the Hot Boys thing was not, I don't think, a good thing. Number one. Number two, he lost all his Hot Boys. And these young, what they call them? Hold on, Roger. These young, these YNs don't give a damn about no goddamn Hot Boys. They don't even know nothing about the Hot Boys and BG. That version of Wayne. I need a hot. They don't know nothing about it. These YNs in the Cowboys locker room roll and fool with guys like Micah and them. Feel me? It wasn't just Micah he wasn't feeling. And this is a couple years ago. I don't know if he said it publicly. He said it publicly after the fact. I can't remember if Micah said it publicly before the fact, but there's definitely was some jealousy going on when, remember, D-Law gets hurt. Randy Gregory goes down. Mike has to rush the passer and instantly becomes the best pass rusher on the team. Immediately. There's a little bit of jealousy going on. Next thing you know, Mike is a superstar. He's everywhere. And everybody wasn't fooling with it. You know? Everybody wasn't fooling with it. What's that picture of Will Smith standing around Fresh Prince? That's DeMarcus Lawrence looking for his Hot Boys. The Hot Boys gone. The YNs is in the locker room now. They in the locker room now. DeMarcus Lawrence said, man, I gotta get rid of these dreads. Locks, I'm sorry. Gotta get rid of these locks. I'm the adult now. You ain't see that Hot Boy chain no more. Yeah, things changed real fast. They wasn't yupping in they white tees. Nah. None of that. It was a new era. And you know, we're going to see where Micah can lead these boys. You feel me? Oh, by the way, if you want to call in, you can 351-999-3787. Haven't talked to y'all in a long time. Shouts out to my brother Twan in the building saying the grown-ups are back. Yes, indeed, baby. Yes, indeed. Before we get going, let me get to the chat. But do you feel what I'm saying here? Jay Bryant said D-Law wasn't very smart and he wasn't prepared to actually lead. Parsons was coming from his crown and he couldn't handle the lead. Marcus, before I get to that, I don't even know if dumb folk even know what that means. Just give the debate. I don't even know if dumb folk know what that means, but it's all jokes, man. It's all jokes. We having fun with it, man. I don't know. Some people, you know. Toxic, you know what that means? I don't want to open up that can of worm. I don't want to open up that can of worm. If you don't know, good. Let us have some. All right, let's keep moving here. So D-Law, Captain Chaney says, so D-Law went from hot he went from hot boy to unk real quick. He did. He went from hot boy to unk. And I don't think he liked it. Maybe in the locker room he didn't like it. He might have been cool with it in his real life, right? Walking around with a damn hot boy chain on. But we don't go and get. And if you can tell, I never was a fan of that. Never was a fan. If you look at who the hot boys were, they were all men. There was no initiation to being good. I digress. Let's get into the meat potatoes of the show, if you will, Cowboys Nation. Bomb Squad. Look, I know the draft is right around the corner, okay? I totally get that. And like I said earlier, please allow me to zig while everybody else is zagging here, because to be honest with you, I'm just ready to get this thing over with. I'm ready. I've said this. I don't know if I said this to y'all publicly. I've said it to my draft people and my people in real life that I personally think the process is stupidly long. I think they need to move up the draft, but because of money, they won't. Everything has to be a spectacle. They need to get X amount of shows on Draft Talk on ESPN and NFL Network and things like that. You end up getting draft fatigue. You end up overthinking prospects. You're just doing too much. I see a lot of that happening right now, everywhere really, and it just gets exhausting, right? And then you get to a point where you kind of forget if you're actually relying on these guys to get you over the hump, you're in a very bad situation. Thus, for a team like the Cowboys who are never in the top 2-3 to take these type of guys, it's very important the guys you do have on the team improve. The guys you've brought in, whether it be free agency, trades, or guys that are already here, improve. And I was putting this thought process together and I was like, who are 3 important guys on this roster that this new coaching staff needs to get the best out of? And then who are 3 coaches that pair with these guys, right, that can get the best out of them, or at the least have the responsibility to get the best out of these guys? And the first coach that comes to mind, and stop me if you heard this before, Clayton Adams. Yeah. It might be a broken record, Cowboys Nation, but that record is certified platinum. Point blank, period. And I just feel like I need to continue to feature him in that way. And I honestly think the organization is looking at him in that way because of the way they're moving and how I think they'll move unless a specific player actually falls to them at 12. We'll talk about that player at some points. But I do think that Clayton Adams' resume speaks for itself, right? We talked about this before. Let me bring him up real quick to refresh your memories, if you will, okay? Who is Clayton Adams? We talked about how he's already built this nasty track record. I don't think it gets enough love, but you got to do some digging to really understand it. When it comes to reviving and elevating offensive lines, this is the guy, and it's not just hype. Quickly, okay? I won't go all the way back and do the thing, but I'm going to be quick here. His first year in Indianapolis, remember I said he helped them improve to a top 10 rushing team for the first time in almost 20 years. And that wasn't with a Jonathan Taylor. That wasn't with an Adrian Peterson type. That was with a below average offensive line and a very mid to below average running back room. He gets there and instantly he goes off, right? And they eventually turn into an elite offensive line, allowing some of the fewest sacks and pressures in the league during his entire tenure, to the point teams tried to poach him and they had to elevate him a tight ends coach just to keep him around. Well, Scott, they had a bunch of Pro Bowlers up there, right? No. Quentin Nelson? Sure. I'll give you Quentin Nelson. Nobody else was Pro Bowl guys except Ryan Kelly. But Ryan Kelly was in the league for 3 seasons. Going into his 4th year, they picked up the 5th-year option. They didn't extend him. They didn't know what to do with him. And then Clayton Adams get there, and he becomes a Pro Bowler. So the Clayton Adams effect showed up immediately in Indianapolis. And that's what I like to call it. I like to call it the Clayton Adams effect. Well, Sky, that's Ryan Kelly. It's Quentin Nelson. Those guys are high pedigree. All right. Cool. Clayton Adams gets to Arizona. Who's the Ryan Kelly? Who's the Quentin Nelson? There wasn't one. But there were a couple players who improved under Clayton Adams. And I brought up this name plenty of times. And this is what happened when he got to Arizona. Immediately, they get better, right? They allowed the 5th least amount of sacks in 2024, the 3rd least pressures allowed, 180, NFL average was 213. And then under him, the past 2 years, they were 3rd in rushing and 2nd in yards per carry. And yes, I know a lot of that, the running quarterback, but if you eliminate that, they still were a top 10, top 5 type of rushing team. But specifically, who did he specifically help? I brought up Jonah Williams to you guys before because I promise you I wasn't lying when I said this guy was an absolute terrible tackle in Cincinnati. He gave up 28 sacks in 3 seasons. Cowboys 28 sacks. The last 2 years, 20. Some people might be like, that sound like a guy we got here. He gets to Arizona. He gets hurt. Only played 6 games, but he didn't allow a single sack. And the pressures also went down. I don't think he had a single game where he had over multiple pressures. Well, Sky, it's not really a lot of games. Okay. Let me give you another guy. Yelda Froholt. I'm sorry. Yelda Froholt is how you say his name. He was on 3 teams. 3 different teams before he got to Arizona. Journeyman is what they call them. The stop before Arizona was in Cleveland. That's where he played his most snaps, 591 snaps. Y'all, he gave up 7 sacks. 7 sacks and hella pressures. That is atrocious in that amount of snaps. By the way, that's total snaps. Not even counting just pass snaps, or probably 300 or something. 2 seasons in Arizona, over 2,000 snaps. He only gave up 6 sacks and a fewer pressure rate. In fact, I want to say after the first year, they actually gave him a contract extension. It's the Clayton Adams effect. You got a guy like Froholt, who was a journeyman, allowing 7 sacks and like 300 some pass snaps. You got a guy like Jonah Williams, who was if you will, busted out of Cincinnati, who was just a sack giving up machine, and already saw improvement in Arizona under Clayton Adams. That's why it's imperative that Clayton Adams has an effect on our guy, my cousin, Terrence Steele, without a shadow of a doubt. All jokes aside, I laugh and I play around about him, being cousin and whatnot. But yeah, this is an important season for him, because if Clayton Adams can't get the best out of Terrence this year, this is his last year, right? It is it. Has not been a good start to the last 2 seasons for Terrence, because I will be fair. He's had a very, very rough start. Now, 2020, was it 3 or 23? Yeah, 23. If you want to say, hey, man, coming off the ACL, cool. He did improve down the stretch, and we also showed that playoff game, right? 24, though, he came out struggling, too. He ain't come out struggling again, Terrence. Did he improve later on down the stretch? Yes, he did. He only gave up, I think, 1 sack in the last, I don't even know if he gave up a sack, but the last, 6 or 7 games. Competition lightened up, but it is what it is. He improved. But while I get it, a lot of us here, Cowboys Nation, not confident in Terrence in a way, right? Clayton Adams is. This comes from Stephen Jones, who said Clayton has watched all of the tape on Terrence, and he just really loves him. Terrence's strong point is his run blocking. Clayton is very fired up, and so is Connor. By the way, you can add Connor Riley into this as well, about what Terrence can do. And let's talk about that run blocking, because that's obviously where Terrence still shines. He's a top, 12 to 15 run blocker, if not better, depending on what you're looking at in the league. So we can't really gloss over it. Just like we can't gloss over that he struggles in pass protection, especially early in the season. We can't gloss over that he's a fine run blocker. And Adams, who talked about his vision for this front, he wants to be aggressive. He wants to be violent. He wants the offensive line to go forward, obviously not backward all game, right? And this goes for not just Terrence, but across the line, right? You want these offensive linemen to be firing out and be confident and playing fast. It's something that he and Coach Schottenheimer talked about. But the big question is, can Clayton Adams sharpen up Terrence Steele's pass protection early in the season? Like, he gets better as the year plays on, but we need that out the gate, cuzzo. We need that out the gate. Now, I know there's a lot of question marks in general across the line, right? Like Tyler Guyton. Can he hold down the fort at left tackle? Guyton's a second-year guy. Guyton's a raw player. He has time to develop. So that's why, I'm not including Guyton in this. I don't think Cuzzo has time. I think it has to happen now for Terrence. And I think a guy like Clayton Adams has to have a direct impact individually on him. And that's kind of the theme of this show today, is that these coaches have to have a direct impact on these specific players if Dallas wants to improve, right? Those players obviously want to improve, but I think it's important for those players to improve for the rest of the team too. And look, I don't think the Cowboys are taking a right tackle at 12 or starter at 44. I don't. The way they've been moving, I can't see it happening. And the way they believe in Terrence, they're definitely not. They believe in him. He's going to be your right tackle. So you need him to improve. And if he improves, I believe the rest of your offensive line gets better by default. We believe in, obviously, we believe in Tyler Smith, We believe in Cooper Beebe. I believe that Guyton will improve just by default, in the sense that he's in year 2, etc. Now, will he improve to the point where he's an above average starter? That's, we have to see that. But Terrence is an extremely important factor in this, because you gave him the bread. They're counting on him to be the guy. And now they're counting on Clayton Adams to have the Clayton Adams effect. So let me ask y'all, can Adams fix Terrence, improve Terrence? Or are we just delaying the inevitable? I agree, Twan. I actually agree with that. I don't think he played as bad as it's, and we're talking about Tyler. I don't think he was amazing. And the coaches, obviously, I think were annoyed with his availability during the season. I do think there was things behind the scenes that kind of, I don't want to say threw Tyler Guyton off, but he was learning how to be a professional, right? Work through professional things. Not saying this guy's mentality wasn't there. It's just, it was a big jump for him. And that's something I tried to illustrate to fans when he was drafted, that this was a 2025 thing. And this was a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience, right? So his play last year, it wasn't upsetting to me. It was expected that there would be struggles. Yeah, baby, we back. TB says, Scott, I think it's underrated how much running the ball will improve his pass pro. He'll be more confident from winning run reps, but also defenses were teeing off last 2 years knowing we were passing. That's very true, right? And that goes for all of the offensive line, right, TB? Offensive linemen want to run block. They just do. And it keeps the defense off balance. You're going to get in obvious passing downs. That's going to happen. But if you can get in third and short, you can get in second and short. If you are a play action team, and we'll get to this in a second, that helps guys like Terrence and Tyler, and both Tylers, right? The center, the guard. It helps the entire offensive line, because you're not pinning the ears back and going. Let's hit the horns real quick. We got 813. What it is, what it do.
What it is, Sky?
What up, though? Who
It's
this?
your boy Kel. It's your boy Kel Hill in Florida. How you doing?
What's
Kelvin
going
Hicks.
on, Kel Hell?
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back, man. I told you, Street's been missing you, dog. I told you that.
Y'all definitely been on my ass about it for sure, but we back, baby.
Yeah, but now I only got really two points I want to hit on. I'm not really a man of many words, so I'm just gonna get them out real quick. I'm gonna jump off your line.
Okay.
First and foremost, if y'all never led men into battle or into a football field, stop discussing these people's leadership qualities. Just because you took a class on leadership don't mean you know anything about leadership. You never led men into a battle or anything. So you don't know nothing about leadership until you've done it. I'm tired of everybody saying, oh, Micah's being a leader because he's showing up to OT. He was a leader before that. He may not have been a vocal leader, but he was a leader before that because his actions show that. His peers looked at him as a leader. He don't need no recognition from a fan. The leader only needs the recognition from his team and from his upper leadership. Has nothing to do with the fans. So whatever y'all say don't mean nothing at all. So y'all can kill that, including content creators, because y'all. I don't know. I'm not saying y'all because that sounds like I'm grouping people.
I know what you mean.
A lot of content creators are reaching on some of these content. And it's really starting to water down what's going on in the actual field of play. Stop questioning these people's leadership traits. It's not something you can actually follow. You have to actually be there to actually follow that type of leadership. Not in the actual locker room. I don't mean you have to be in Frisco, because it don't mean nothing. You got to be in the locker room to be able to question that man's leadership. And if you're not, shut up. Second thing.
You're talking shit. Hey, go do your thing, Playboy. I feel you on that. There's a lot of passion it takes on it, and you're just not there. And I don't hear people that are there coming out complaining about it, except for who? The guy that's no longer there because of jealousy reasons. Not saying he's not there because of jealousy reasons, but that guy was jealous of what was going on. He was jealous. He lost control of that locker room. That just is what it is, and that's going to happen. Leaders that ascend to leadership in that manner, there's going to be people that don't fool with you. That's just the way it's going to happen.
It's going to happen like that, and it happens. And old leadership sometimes, for old leadership, it is very hard to give it up to the new leadership sometimes. I've been there, so I understand it. So I get that DeMarcus Lawrence was actually truly just. Because again, you have a young guy coming in, and the next big check that you're going to get is actually going to go to the new guy now, and you know this already. So you got to steel yourself and prepare yourself for it, and he didn't. We all got to grow up as men. It is what it is. Yeah. But the second thing that I want to point out is I need people to understand these moves that the Joneses has made. Stop congratulating these guys. Stop it. This was hey, we had to do this. Our ranks was low. We have nothing. We got to do this, or else we can't even put out a football team. Period. I don't care if there were 4 first rounds and all that. That don't mean nothing. What have they done in the last 3 years in this NFL? What's the NFL called? What have you done for me lately? Yeah. Not for long? What have they done in their time frame in their rookie contract? I don't care what team they were on. This is why I got mad about the Mingo thing. Oh, it's the quarterback. No, I don't want to hear it. Because if CeeDee Lamb was dealing with Cooper Rush, did he still go out and get 9 catches for whatever yards? Yes. So it's not the quarterback, it's the receiver and his knowledge and his paying attention to what's going on. And a lot of times when you look at those routes, yeah, Mingo got open, but what did he do? Did he scramble when he saw it was a scramble drill? No, he stayed. Look, if you don't know how to play football, watch film or any of this stuff, hey, cool, talk to Okoye or somebody. But don't come up here flapping y'all gums, acting as if y'all know what it is when y'all don't.
Well, I'm speaking for, we're going to allow them to have their opinions, right? And I said this before, even if you got a crazy ass opinion, you can have that opinion, you can express it, but just be ready. If it's a mess, I'm going to fight back on the mess. You know me. I have no problem. I have no problem with pushing back on the mess, but I don't want to silence fans, right? Like, if you have an opinion, let's talk about it, even if it's crazy. And if I say, hey, look, if you get Durag Sky, you just happen to get Durag Sky. But I definitely don't want to silence fans. But I agree in a sense. I don't know her, and I do reach out. I say this all the time. I reach out to certain. I reach out to my own community. I talk to Foots a lot. I reach out to Vach about something, Jesse about something, other people that I have in my connects about something if I don't know, because I don't know everything. So yeah, I'm with you, man. If you aren't sure of something, reach out. Even if it's somebody that's not a professional, somebody that puts in the work. Like a guy like Professor O puts in a ton of work during this draft season, and that's a guy that if you need to know something about a prospect, hit him up too.
Exactly. Like if you're not sure about prospects, you got Professor O, you got Foots, you got Vouch, you got a lot of people. Then you also got for like if you ain't sure about the cap, man, we got our own little cap guy here in Toxic. Toxic is fantastic.
Yeah.
But hey, it's neither here nor there. I'm not here to voice my complaints and stuff like that. I'm just wanting Cowboys Nation to just settle down, understand, fan how you want to fan. Don't let nobody else push your fandom another way, saying, "Oh, well, it just no." You know what you see. You know what you've seen for 30 years. I know what I've seen for 35 plus years because I've been a Cowboys fan since '86. Since the Giants won their last Super Bowl, they have been docile, and it still shows to this day.
All right. Hey, appreciate you, Kelvin. With the heat you brought this morning, brother, some good stuff there. And I do want to touch on that Jerry or on that front office part here in a second.
Yes, sir. But I appreciate you, Scott. Welcome back.
Yes, sir. Good stuff right there. I brought this up. I brought this up on that Friday show about how, to me, they're not moving different. I know that was kind of the cool thing to say at the time because they signed all these players. But I'm like, do we have selective memory? Are we forgetting they've done this before? This isn't really new. But, hey, man, if you want to have that opinion, that's fine. I challenge anybody on that opinion that this is different, that they're moving different or anything like that. That's not the case. And the facts and the data back that up. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not giving pats on the back for being active because it's not just about being active. It's about being active to improve your team. I say that all the time. Free agency, offseason is about trying to improve your team, not maintaining. The Cowboys have consistently come out and told you that's not their objective. Their objective in free agency is not to improve the team. It's to put Band-Aids on places so they can go into the draft where they believe that's where the improving begins. And I'm not going to talk about that damn cycle because that cycle it's a rough cycle. But that's their belief. That's how they move, and that's why the first and second and third rounds are so damn critical. They're so critical for the Cowboys. But it's really hard to get CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs every year, and back-to-back picks like that. And even Trayvon Diggs wasn't Trayvon Diggs year one. CD was CD. But year one, Trey wasn't like that. So that's how they move, man. That's how they move. All right, let me get to the second Cowboys coach-player tandem pair-up that needs to happen, that we need to get some improvement from here. Now, bring up this coach. You might say it's obvious, right? You might say, well, yeah, it's shoddy. He's the head coach. Of course. Of course. He has to have a direct impact on everybody. And you might even say, oh, well, this is Dak, right? Dak Prescott. He's got to have a direct impact. He's got to level up Dak Prescott. And that's true. Am I gonna disprove that or argue that? He absolutely does. But that's not what I'm talking about today. This is beyond Dak, because one thing I know about Dak is that he's shown no matter who the coordinator is, who the play caller is, no matter how good or bad they are, he can go out, he can ball. But this is about a guy who is not a household name. This is about a guy who did get the bag recently. This is about Kevontae Turpin. What? Cavante Turpin, Sky, you tripping. No, I'm not, man. Hear me out. Hear me out. Turpin did get the bag, though. 3 years, like $13.5 million extension. Deservedly so. Okay? Cavante Turpin is the most dangerous return man in the league. He's proven that over the last 2 or 3 seasons, right? 2-time All-Pro as a returner. Finally hit pay dirt, by the way, as a returner. But I think it goes beyond that. I think there's more that Terp can do. And in order to get into that a little bit more, we kind of got to take a step back and talk about Shotty. We got to talk about his vision. And if you guys remember the presser, I had played the clip. I'll play it again for you. But he talked about things like, purposeful motion. He talked about condensed splits. He talked about, the play action game, the run game, dribbling with the purpose, if you will. Let's kind of refresh your memory on that.
Again, I go back to my days with Pete. I think if you go back and you look at some of the things we did in Seattle, obviously the starting point for me would be things that our players do well. You're always going to start with that. If your system's not flexible enough to do what your players do well, then you're probably in the wrong business. But I'm a big believer in cut splits. I'm a big believer in shifts and motions to distort things. We're going to do a great job of marrying our runs and our passes and make those look the same. I'm proud to say that 2 different times in my career as a coordinator, we led the league in rushing. And they go hand in hand. The running game and the action passing game go hand in hand. But I would say there's a tempo element that we're excited to mix in, that our players have all shown an affinity for.
So I think a lot of that is like the perfect ecosystem, if you will, for a guy like Cavante Turpin. Not as a feature player. Okay, let me get that out there because I love Sky. He has his drops. He's got things he's got to do with, sure. This isn't about featuring Cavante Turpin as your wide receiver too, or anything like that. No, it's more about being surgical with Cavante Turpin. I don't believe they were surgical with him until later in the season. It did not matter anymore. And that goes for the first 3 years, the whole 3 years he was here. You'd see him here and there, then you don't. I personally believe Turp needs to be involved every week in packages per se. And I'm not saying 10 touches or nothing like that. But you can use him in a surgical manner. And I told you guys this before. The way I view this offense, what I think is going to look like, and he talked about some of these things already in here. Get ready for a remixed version of what you see Miami, the Vikings, the Niners, the Rams. That's the new wave, right? The McVay, the Shanahan, the McDaniels, the O'Connells of the world. Get ready to see a lot of that because Shotty said a long time ago, and this dates back in 2023, I think it was, where I have no problem stealing. It's basically, I will go look, and that was his job at one point, to look around the league and steal plays. And you saw that happen post-bye week. And ironically, against the Rams, right? You saw them doing some exit motion and push motion and pre-snap stuff. And they asked him, they say, yo, where'd this come from? And he's like, hey, during a bye week, we was out here stealing shit. And you start to see it be sprinkled in a little bit over the next year and a half. And I think I'm gonna stand 10 toes on this. I think 100% of that was Brian Schottenheimer. I don't think Mike McCarthy had nothing to do with it. I don't think he wanted to have anything to do with it. And I think Jerry slipped up and said something similar, right? Hey, Brian Schottenheimer had to bite his tongue so many times. I've watched him, clench his teeth and want to. That's because Shotty was watching these game plans again. It was like, man, we're stuck in, 2012. While the rest of the league is moving forward. Well, how does that correlate to a guy like Cavante Turpin? I want to make a comparison here. We talk about the Rams, right? The Rams played the Cowboys in that game where we started to see more things. And I can't help but look at Turp and look at Tutu Atwell and feel like, why can't he be the Cowboys version of Tutu Atwell? If not more, if we're being honest. Now, I think Tutu Atwell is a more polished receiver, but I think Turpin is a more versatile player. But they both can be used in similar manners, right? McVay uses Tutu Atwell. Small guy, speedy guy, motion-heavy field stretcher. Doesn't have to hog targets either. But every snap that he's out there is with a purpose. It's absolutely with a purpose. And I can see Turpin being used in that way. I can see the jet motions, the attacking the angles with the pre-snap stuff, post-snap action. Occasionally, you got him in the backfield. We saw that. He's a threat that teams have to respect if you make him one. Again, surgically. He doesn't have to be Puka Nacua. He doesn't have to be a Cooper Kupp. But he can have a role. Tutu had, like 60 targets last year? That's not hogging the targets. Now, we saw Turpin's production go up some because we saw his targets go up some. He had 18 targets, 2023. That's shot up to 48. He had 11 carries, up to 16. I'm not saying that needs to jump from 48 to 90, right? But let's be real. A lot of those 48 happened in the last 3-4 weeks of the season. Let's see that at the beginning of the year and then throughout the season. Use him. Find ways to get him involved and not when the year's over. And how many times have you heard me say this, especially when the Cowboys were bogged down? If you're an offense that does not have a lot of playmakers across the board, then it is your job, coach. It's your job, Shotty. It's your job, Mike McCarthy, whoever was here, Kellen Moore, whatever. It's your job to find a way to utilize these explosive guys that you do have. And they weren't doing that with Cavante Turpin. I don't think enough. You say, oh, this guy, he's not a big receiver. He's not that type of guy. Again, surgically. How can we watch the offense the last 2 years be as bogged down as it was, unimaginative as it was, and there's this little guy just sitting over there that we know can take something to the crib that they just refuse to utilize in that manner? How can we watch the offense and be like, nah, we don't need to see Turpin out there. Let's run Jalen Brooks out there. Yeah, more Schoonmaker. Come on, guys. So I don't want to use the word unlock in regards to Schottenheimer and Cavante Turpin, but I do think there needs to be a more purposeful manner in how Shotty can level up. Because think about this. If Cavante Turpin can be inserted in this offense in that way, that's another dimension you now have to deal with. So now say you go out and you get one of these wide receivers. You go out and you get an explosive. I'm all about trying to get as much firepower as we possibly can. You go out, let's just play a hypothetical game. I don't care if it's Tet. I don't care if it's Burton. I don't care if it's Golden. I don't care if it's Hampton, Genty, Henderson. I'm not playing this game of, no, don't take. There's plenty of guys. I talked to Foots about this yesterday. I don't want to hear about reach. I don't want to hear nothing. The Cowboys need so many positions. There's so many holes. There's no such thing as a reach. There's no such thing as wiped out. There's none of that. But it's draft rhetoric. It's draft season. It's draft lingo. I'm not here for it. You need it all. But anyway, let's say they get their explosive receiver, big playmaker receiver. Let's say they also get their explosive running back. And then you add in a Cavante Turpin. When I say add in, I mean like legitimately. Oh, we can have some fun now. We can have some fun. And if this offense is going to be more creative under Shotty and Clayton Adams, who, by the way, Clayton Adams under Drew Petzing, who did a lot of those things, right? A lot of those, I don't want to say everything looked like Shanahan, McVay, and O'Connell, but there was a mix of that. Then I think Turp has to be a part of this. I think he has to be a part of this. Now we're talking about utilizing these weapons. I hope that's the case in the draft, that they go out and get some more playmakers to add to this team, because the Cowboys don't have enough. The ones that they do have, they need to help level up, and that's a guy like Kevontae Turpin. Point blank, period. It's a guy like, and it's up to Shotty. The pressure's on. Now you might say, oh, well, this is your fourth or fifth receiver. I mean, fair. It's fair, but he's a weapon that could be surgically incorporated. Don't need him to be Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. I'll be damn fine if he's a Tutu Atwell. Damn fine. And I think he could be a little bit more because he can do backfield things. Yep. Shouts out to Professor on the building. He says, Sky, even with the likely day 2 draft pick joining the running back room, how many carries do you think is the sweet spot for Terp this year? I don't think a whole lot, Professor O, especially if you get a dude or dudes at running back. Like, I'm not looking for Kevontae Turpin to do a whole lot of running back. Like, they had to do running back things last year with Terp. They had to. Your running back room it lacked any type of playmaking ability back there, and that's with all due respect to Rico Dowdle. So they were forced to. But when I say backfield things, it doesn't necessarily mean carrying the rock between the 20s, right? Or between the tackles. Turpin can do a lot of orbit stuff. You can do some pony looks. You can get Turpin, you can get him matched up on a damn linebacker, right? Out the backfield, wheel routes, option routes, arrow routes, whatever. Like, I'd actually like to see him incorporate in that manner, catching the rock, maybe some tosses, than just strictly running between A gap, B gaps like we saw last year. That was cool. That was fun. And he definitely had a couple big plays doing it. But if I'm getting a guy, right, like if I get a Henderson in the second round, or say they get Hampton early, or say Genty, they want to go there, or Caleb Johnson, Donaldson. Like, if I'm getting a guy, definitely if I'm getting an explosive guy, I don't necessarily need Turp to do a whole lot of those things. But you can mix and match it to keep guys off balance. CD handoffs over Turpin handoffs. Yeah, CD was a beast back there, and he makes more sense because he's a bigger body. But hey, Rod Trap, go look at Turpin's yards per touch out the backfield. He was eating. He did get wrapped up by, I think it was Vita Vea, made him disappear. Yeah. Let's get back to the horns, man. We got our guy Los. Long time no speak. What's good with you, Los?
Hey, good morning, Sky, man. Hey, long time no talk, man.
It has been.
But I know you're out there getting your blessings, and you deserve it, man. Keep on grinding.
Thank you, brother.
And just know Cowboy Nations will always support you no matter what, man. You bring it like no other, and you bring that. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it like those motherfuckers, but you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I'll just give you my one bean, and I'll let you go, man. I really think, and I'll die on this grave, Sky.
Just call me Dad.
I think the most, yeah. Hey, important part.
Well, I got 240 M's. Go ahead.
Hey, honestly, man, you kind of little GoFundMe to just match him, but I really think the most important part of the Cowboys' success comes from Dak. And I think he has to stay upright and healthy.
Sure.
And being Dak, we know in order for him to do that, we need this offense to be in order, whether that be a front, run game, wide receivers getting into their strengths, like you're saying, Sky, how we use CD, how we use Turpin in the slot, how we use Mingo in red zone packages, etc. Because, these guys are in the NFL. We just got to prioritize what their strengths are, right, Sky? And I think there's been I think in the last era of McCarthy, he's been more of a, you got to beat your man one-on-one with no type of scheme. And I just kind of like, damn, no, a stealth offense, as you say, Sky. And I just really hate that. But other than that, Sky, that's all I have. And, I just want to let you know on your thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. You definitely got to be able to use most of those guys. I'm not in the Mingo camp. Shout out to my guy Twani. Look, I don't want them to use Jonathan Mingo as an excuse not to take a receiver early. Obviously, you gave up a 4th round pick, so I guess they got to see if he can at least be wide receiver 3, 4, what have you. But even then, I mean, definitely if I'm getting a Higgins type or a Tet type, I don't need Mingo in that way. I'd rather utilize Turpin a little bit more, right? Like Mingo, Mingo is basically what you want from a Tet Higgins type in regards to a bigger body, jump ball dude down the field. Now, I know he did a lot of, was it Ole Miss? He did a whole lot of yak stuff early, but we ain't seen none of that in the NFL. So, yes, utilize the guys you have, but also don't overvalue those guys either. You know what I'm saying? Like, this room outside of Lamb and I think Turpin lacks playmakers in that way, and don't try to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Correct. And and that's all I have, Scott. And one last thing is I really think that this coaching staff has to be way above, the challenges what we always been doing this last whatever type of season. And I think Shammer can do that, especially if we all think that he's the one that's been calling for motions and screens, how you love this guy. I think if he implies that in the offense and just change things up, the simple things can change things dramatically. And I just think that's something we can all think of. But yeah, that's all I got, Scott. Peace out and keep doing great things, man.
Appreciate you, Los. Good to hear from you, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to see more motion stuff, maybe more screen stuff. We'll see. More running though, right? Like this is definitely going to be a team that I don't think they're going to be a 60-40 team that runs the ball. I don't think this is going to be a team that is predictable in running the ball, but I think there will be more creativity in how they run the ball, right? I'm all about efficiency over volume. Volume comes when you're ahead. I hate when people try to utilize, 30, the number's 30, or it's not about the number. How do we get there? You start off the game running the ball 30 straight times and not guarantee you a dub, right? Give me efficiency all day over volume, because then the volume will come. If I'm getting 4.8, 5.2 yards per clip, right? And I'm sitting at 17 carries in the third quarter or so, third quarter, maybe almost fourth quarter, but I'm up by 10. That's probably because you threw the ball to get the touchdowns and you're running the ball to stay efficient. And by the time you get to the fourth quarter, you done tacked on 12 carries because you run the clock out. Oh, magically we hit 30, right? But if you're losing and you can't score and you're only averaging 2.9 yards per carry, 3.1 yards per carry or something, you're going to keep running the ball 30 times especially without an explosive back? No, man. There's way more nuance to this thing than just like anything. We just try to hit 30. We just want to get to a number. No. Clayton Adams understands that. Clayton Adams talked about problem solving. He talked about, so did Shoddy, marrying the run game with the pass game. You go look at his history in Arizona with Drew Petzing. I mean, this is going to be a way more creative rushing attack. And that's what excites me the most. It's not about actually running the ball more. It's about running the ball more creatively. Especially if you get the right running backs. Please help me, please. Get some better backs. I personally think they would. Like, with all due respect to Jonathan or to Williams and Miles Sanders. With all due respect, why? In a historically deep running back class where I think they could just draft two backs, why? I guess you need more bodies, sure, but no. And please don't let that be a reason why you say we're going to wait to the 6th round. Please don't let that be the reason. I digress. Who are you new? Are you new to Cowboy fandom? Said y'all getting bullied in the trenches. I'm guessing you're not a Cowboy fan. Asadic Payne. Shouts out to Tuck in the building. What's up, bro? Asadic Payne said y'all get bullied in the trenches every year instead of addressing it. Sad finesse team soft in the trenches. Yeah, you can't be a Cowboy. You can't be a Cowboy fan. Instead of addressing it, there's no team in the league that addresses it more than the Dallas Cowboys, sir. What are you talking about? No team in the league has drafted more offensive linemen in the first round in the last decade than the Cowboys. Quite literally. Have 2 first-round picks on the line. Last year had 3. And an $80 million right tackle. Did you just wake up? So I'm not quite sure what you mean they don't address it. Some could argue they over address it. No team drafts the offensive lineman in the first round every goddamn year. And that's where, again, if you're new here, roll it back a little bit. That's why Clayton Adams is important. Because Clayton Adams, no matter where he's been, has improved on guys that haven't been first round offensive linemen, or improved on guys that maybe were a little bit higher in pedigree in the draft or as free agents. That's why coaching matters and is important. Mike Solari, again, I don't know if you're a Cowboy fan. Do you even know who that is? Cowboy fans do. He's not that guy, pal. We're hoping Clayton Adams can be our Jeff Stoutland. Jeff Stoutland took a damn rugby player and made him a Pro Bowler. Jeff Stoutland takes day 2 prospects and makes them Pro Bowlers. Cowboys are... I'm trying to think of the Cowboys day 2 offensive linemen. Have any of them ever even been considered among the league's best? Connor McGovern, left and got paid in Buffalo, but not among the league's best. Tyler Biadasz, I don't think he went to a Pro Bowl, and I know he got, he went and got the bag in Washington, but he's not considered among the league's best. Now, back when run game Moses was here, Ron Leary, but I'm talking about under the last decade maybe. How many day 2 guys? Please talk to me. Jay said Nate Thomas. I like Nate Thomas. He's thrown in there. So I don't mean to pivot off of it, but sir, to say that the Cowboys don't address it is just categorically wrong. They address it more than any team in the National Football League. The problem, and I've said this many times, BB could be a guy, TB, but he ain't there yet, but BB could be a guy. The problem is they only want to address it in the draft. That's the problem. There are plenty of teams that acquire guys in free agency. Cowboys don't believe in it, man. And we went through this. The last legitimate contract they gave out to a starting offensive lineman, like a 4-year deal contract, was Mackenzie Bernardo, if I'm not mistaken. Everything else is of the Byron Bells and Robert Joneses and all the Irvins they had. Didn't they have a couple Irvins? Something like that. The Tyden Sekis, the Jason Peters. I can go on and on and on. Shouts out to my man. He came from San Francisco. He was there when we had the Bill Nagy's of the world. Kyle Kozier. They're not signing dudes on the offensive line. And it's okay to pay a little bit of money to the offensive lineman in free agency. You don't got to draft a first rounder every goddamn time you need an offensive lineman. Nope. That's Cowboy way. It's Cowboy. La'el Collins, that's a bit of a cheat, but we got to put an asterisk on La'el. La'el Collins was without a shadow of a doubt, a first round pick until they tried to say he killed somebody. You know what I mean? Cam, that's what it was. Not the Irvins, the Cams. It was Cam Fleming and Cam Irvin. They was signing the Cams. Nate Livings. I mean, we can go on and on. My guy, we got bigger issues than the Cowboys drafting offensive linemen early. They do that plenty of times. Let's get to 469. Got a couple 469. I got to get to the other 469 in a second. But what's good, 469?
Welcome back, Scott.
Thank you, brother.
This is Coach Q.
Coach Q. Long time no speak, brother.
Yes, sir. So Tyler Biadasz, he made Pro Bowl his last year with the Cowboys, and then he made the Pro Bowl this year with the Redskins.
He did make the Pro Bowl? Was it the alternative thing? That's probably why I didn't. I'm dead serious.
You might be. That's fair. I think you're right with the.
I'm dead serious, right, bro. If he made it, I'm pretty sure it was alternative. There's no way he made it. He made it on the first joint. But if he made it, bro. So Hey, shots out to Tyler. So there you go. There we go, guys. Tyler Badass is our guy. My bad.
Then the other one was Conor McGovern. He made the Pro Bowl 2023, but with the Buffalo.
Not with the Cowboy. No. Yeah, I'm talking about the Cowboy. I'm talking about the Cowboy. Yeah. McCover didn't make no damn pro. I know that for a fact now, Jack.
But great points. I mean, like I said, he can't be a Cowboys fan because they do invest a lot. Last year, we drafted 2 offensive linemen. So in the first 100 picks.
Okay.
So I mean, like we do invest a lot in the online, like you were saying. But I wanted to kind of circle back with the leadership thing that people are talking about. And, you know, everybody that play football, I know you play football as well. You have certain leaders. You have people that are leaders in position groups.
1 second. Let me hit so shouts out to Professor for explaining this a little bit here. And Asadiq Payne, the reason why, and I'm shocked here, Asadiq Payne said he's a fan of the Cowboys since '77. But the way he worded that, you sounded like you were an Eagle fan or something. And we said y'all, like as in the Cowboys. He apparently he's talking about defensive line. So ignore my entire rant on offensive line. Apparently he's talking about defensive line. And that, sir, you're right. But go right ahead, bro.
No problem. But, you know, people talking about leaders. You know, on a football team, you have different leaders. You have leaders on your position group, and then you have leaders over a whole offense and defense. And Micah this year is the leader over the defense. And being a head coach, there's certain responsibilities, certain things that you expect that leader to do to lead the team, to set the tone. And Micah coming in, and I think Micah on words, what he said himself, you might even have the quotes from Micah, how he wants to be in there for the rookies, for the new guys. And that's what you want as a head coach from your leader of your defense, is to set that tone. And I think that Micah was gone the past couple of years because, like we found out, it was conflict between him and Law. I wouldn't want to be there either. It was conflict between me and him. And so, like I said, you know, that's kind of what you're looking for. It's more to it. For the first time, I have a 5-star DN. He's a junior. And I was telling him, because his teammate, who was 4-star, went to a Power 5 school this year. I was telling, hey, this is what the coaches are looking for. They're asking, are you the first one in? Are you the last one out? Do you watch film? Do you love football? These are the coaches are asking. And so I don't want, because I told him I'm not going to lie. Because he was one of the guys that was always first in. He was just the most athletic. Right. And this spring, he has been the first one in. He has been the last one out. He has been the first one up to lift weights and pushing the guys and seeing how the freshmen and sophomores are following him. Same with Micah. I know that's high school ball, but same thing applies for the NFL. That if you're going to be accountable and hold a guy accountable, how can you hold me accountable and you wasn't even here for the first and second install because you were someone else? That's not going to be said by Micah this year. And I love the fact that he's stepping up and being the leader in that particular way. And so, I mean, that's all really I had to say.
Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily wrong in that sense. But in this case, voluntary workouts, I don't think there's an issue for NFL players not going to voluntary workouts. The issue, I think, is if you're not doing something yourself. And over the years, Micah has clearly been working his ass off. In fact, inviting the players and everything to work with him. So he still was in that film room, in the gym, working out, doing those type of things. And I personally think last year was a message he was trying to send for the contract, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And this year, very similar. I think he's also sending a message, but in a different way. And I hear y'all. I hear what you're trying to say. Y'all have exactly. You got no excuse now to drag this. I don't want to hear in the media to 105.3 or any of your lackeys that you got reporting to you more. I don't want to hear any of, Micah Parsons, Calvin Watkins. Well, there's a Micah Parsons problem because is he going to be a leader? Is he going to show up? That's y'all negotiating through the media. I'm here now. Now what? What you got to say? It wasn't like I wasn't over here working and busting my ass off, but you know what? I'm here now. And I said I was going to be here for these young bucks too, but I'm also here for myself as well. Because if I don't improve in all aspects of not just my game, but my growth as a person, then we don't improve.
You're spot on. And I think you even said it last year that the negotiations with Michael was going to be different. And he's showing that. like he's not letting people lie about what's going on. It's known that, hey, the structure of the contract already been done. Hey, I like the money that Jerry Jones told me about. And so, like, I love, and you said this, Scott. I think you might be the first content creator that said that Michael was not going to let the Dallas Cowboys do that stupid narrative of saying his name. And you're spot on about this. I want to give you kudos on that, too.
He's a different cat, man. Mike is a different cat. And I think that they knew they were going to be in for that. Why do you think Jerry wants to just deal with him?
Yeah.
Why do you think Jerry want to do? Jerry, no, man. If I got any chance to try to get this thing cheaper than it need to be, it can't be through the agents, because the agents are going to work, black and white. They're not going to see no gray. Ain't no gray area. Micah, a different cat. Micah is way more personable than a lot of people believe. Micah 100%. Is way more selfless than a lot of people believe, and that's why Jerry wanted to go right to the source.
But I love the show. I'm glad you're back, man. I can't wait. My team, while we left, we'll be having you on. So keep up the good work.
Thanks, Coach Q. Hey, good luck in this off season for your guys too, brother.
Appreciate it.
Our guy, Coach Q, with a great perspective right there. 100%. Hey, Tuck. Think about that. Ain't that crazy? As Tuck said, CD was working out on his own yesterday. Not a peep. Not a peep. Come on, man. You think national media don't know who to target? You think local media don't know who to target to get their clicks off and whatnot? Come on. That's why I stay away from all that. It's a nasty business. And I guess sometimes you have to speak on certain things, but God damn it. I feel like more and more the years go by, the less it becomes about ball. I got into this thing to veer it back to ball. And ball can mean team building, by the way, right? 100%. But boy, it's a lot of just reality TV type media personalities. And I blame the big wigs, man. I do. I don't know who we got on the horn today, but but the phone line says JR. So if this is indeed JR, good morning, good brother. Long time no speak. I know if it's Coach Prime. I know if it was Irv. I know who it was.
We got the best in the business back on the YouTube waves. All is right in Cowboys Nation. How you doing, Scott?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, one thing I do regret, brother, before I left was not stopping back at your restaurant. That's one thing I do regret not doing, is going back down there, man.
Oh, man, it's all good because, the love is there, the energy is there, you know what I'm saying? And we are still moving, you know what I'm saying? And the most beautiful thing is they gonna always move, you know what I'm saying? Everybody loves them some barbecue, but you still moving, Scott.
Thank you, brother.
It ain't stopped. We still going to the top, baby, you know what I'm saying? The sky's the limit. Woo! Oh, it feels so good. I thought I was MIA. I was like, dang, did something happen? Did my boy Scott get signed to one of these big networks? Something like, what's going on? Am I missing something? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, snap, and I didn't want to be that guy in the room because, you can't miss episodes. And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't miss a couple, you know what I'm saying? Because I done been around the world and they still Cowboy hating, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I was like, whoa, what happened to my boy Scott? Where's I didn't want to say nothing.
A quick recap.
With the quickness I tapped in this morning.
Quick recap. I'm back in PA, so brother, and but I'm also back with the volume. That's kind of been taking up most of my time. But we back, bro. What's on your mind?
We back, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? You made a very good point earlier. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about being wiped out in the draft, like, there is no way we can be wiped out day one, day two, because we have so many needs. If everybody starts going in on wide receivers, guess what? We got running backs. Guess what? We got the Michigan D tackle. You know what I'm saying? If we wanted to go that route again, we got offensive line. It's so many places we can go. I'm just excited that we're actually, I mean, and I'm always good because we always address issues in the draft. You know what I'm saying? The problem is that we don't address issues in the draft and in free agency. You know what I'm saying? Because and no hate to Ming. I think it's Jonathan Mingo. We got him for a 4th rounder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like put him and Tolbert in the bag, shake it up. You see what I'm saying? Whoever you pull out, you're gonna get the same production. You see, like it's unbelievable to listen to media try to gas a player who gave us virtually nothing coming in mid-season and was supposed to be this rat guy, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm excited because we can't mess this up. Like, I mean, we can.
But you can't though. Go back to your original point, and then one of my points earlier, like you said, I've been just kind of just sitting back watching a lot of things, and I think draft fatigue has done this. But wiped out, ultimate, doomsday scenario, DEFCON 1, and I'm like, yo, are we picking at 12 or are we picking at 31? Because it would have been nice to pick at 31, but are we picking at or 32? Are we picking at 12? Or are we picking at 32? We're picking at 12. What did this team do in the offseason that makes you believe that the Cowboys is going to be wiped out at 12? I mean, and maybe this is just an exercise people are trying to do, to generate conversation. And then with that, then fine. But do you truly believe that you can be wiped out? There's no way. It's not possible, bro. You can't possibly pick 25 players in the first 12 picks. You need everything, bro. Like you need so many things. It's impossible to be wiped out there. So yeah, I'm with you at that point.
Yeah, and the transition. Talking about Micah Parsons, I'll make this real quick. I think we didn't see a lot of leadership from Micah Parsons because he understood the respect and the culture of the locker room. We already had the defensive leader here in DeMarcus Lawrence, but we also saw when he started showing chips in the leadership, you know what I'm saying? And that's when Micah started trying to, step up. So now with D-Law gone, and I think that might be that might have been a part of the negotiations with Micah. It's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I want to be the guy in the locker room for the defense. You see what I'm saying? So they had to look at a tank and say, hey, bro, we got to let you go make your money somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, when I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Because Mike has always been that guy, that vocal person, but he had to kind of reel it in because he still had to show respect. Well, he didn't have to, but he chose to show respect to the leadership of what D-Law had done over the, span of his career. You know what I'm saying? And that's honorable. That really is honorable. But now I think we're going to see a different team aspect because now you have your top player who's been performing at the top level, who's also been doing the extra things off the field and staying out of bad publicity, you know what I'm saying, for the team and for himself. It's like, hey, he's checked every box. So if he's performing at this standard, you got to perform at that standard too. And that's going to be the new memo coming into the locker room if you're on the defense side and probably the offense side as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think maybe there was maybe a little of that early in Micah's career. Like when I say little, I mean, like, yes, he respect the hierarchy and the order per se in the locker room, understanding, hey, I just got here, I can't possibly be a leader, and he respected that. But I thought in 2000 and I can't remember if it was 22, the game that comes to mind, excuse me one second, was the Eagles game, and he wasn't the only one that spoke out, but there was a lot of frustration. The road game in Philly, they should have beat them bums at that time, but they didn't. And there's a lot of frustration in the locker room. You had a lot of guys kind of upset with people not doing their job. And Micah was very vocal about it. But a little subliminal. Everybody was a little subliminal in the sense they didn't want to publicly call anybody out. And from there on, I think you saw him get a little bit more vocal and more vocal and more vocal. And then I think the big rift happened after the Green Bay game. They him and CD came on, and he flat out came out and said, yo, I got to step up and be leader because ain't nobody else doing it. That's basically what he said. And I'm pretty sure D-Law looked at that and was not happy with that, right? There was already some underlining jealousy of Micah becoming the star and being the dude. And he even, remember, D-Law came out years ago and said, hey, this young pup is coming from my crown, right? They had this little, I want to get the most sacks type thing going on, right? There was that healthy competition that did turn unhealthy in a way. And I do think it got to a point where now you do got two different styles in that locker room. And one was the old guard, the hot boys, and there wasn't no more hot boys around who, let's just be real, again, not in that locker room, just based off the vibes, behind the scenes and just in general, I think he was ready to go. I don't think he much cared to be leader. I think he was ready to get up out of there. And the other guy was ready to take the crown, and it's hard to take that crown and I say crown because I think he did take it, while the other guy is still there. So I think that's why you hear about them having a clash, and then obviously it got public a few months ago. But there's no doubt now. Mike is that guy. I thought he was that guy last year. I thought he was that guy when he brought it up. It's just changing of the guard, and changing of the guard is really never as smooth as you would like it to be, for real.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because, everybody got pride, and at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You think you can do better than me type deal, my legacy and stuff, going all the way. People, we talk about records, and records are meant to be broken, but guys don't want to see nobody, take their stuff down, you know what I'm saying? But I get that, but yeah, that's all I got, man, for right now. My wife, she finna beat me up because, I'm late
Get him.
to the doctor's appointment, you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
but y'all,
you,
hey, Scott, it's such an honor, brother. I cannot express it enough how much the city is going to miss you, man. But to have you back, hey, look, you know what I already got to say. I done already took my TV time out to make sure I hit that like button.
Yes,
so
sir.
if you in the comments, if you in your car, risk that car right now. Don't do that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Wherever you are, take that TV time out. Hit that like button. Man, go and hit the bell. Hit the all. Every time it pop up, you need to be tuned in, because if you're looking for Cowboys content, you're not going to get it anywhere else better than here. A to Z.
Whoa.
Skywalker Steel, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. I said the wrong thing. My bad. But Skywalker Steel. Don't give me that look, baby. I'm almost done. Okay, I'm getting in the car. All right,
Hey, wifey, get his ass.
You know what I'm saying?
Get his ass, wifey.
You know what I'm saying? We back, baby. We in the building.
Man. Appreciate you, big dog. But I'm gonna try to be respectful. We do not do that here. We are no longer there. We are no longer there. Shouts out to whatever they doing over there, though. But we don't do that here. The alphabet's gone, brother. Rolo said the alphabet gang is gone, fam. We are just Skywalker Unleashed. No, not that one. All right, man. I got the volume hit me up. All right, let me quickly get to my last guy here. Quickly, if you will. Matt Eberflus. All right. Well, Scott, how you doing? Offense coordinator, defense coordinator, play caller. Yeah, I think these guys can have direct impact, 100% on these players. And the player in question, again, you could say, well, it's got to be somebody fighting for a job. It's got to be somebody that's trying to be a starter or that needs to improve or because they weren't that good last year. No, it's not. It's the new and improved $80 million man, Osa Odigizua. Yes, sir. I am, Sky. You talking about all these players that got some of the bread, right? Yeah. Including Osa in this exercise is not about Osa having to be better because he wasn't good last year. Obviously he was, right? Career year, got him the bag. Thought it was perfect timing because the Cowboys almost couldn't lose him. And he took advantage of that, right? 4 years, $80 million, $52 million guaranteed, but you won't really see the big cap hit until 2026. In fact, this is the first time they've prioritized or at least dropped this type of money on a defensive tackle. And again, correct me if I'm wrong here. since Jay Ratliff. Ironically, one of their guys. Now, if they had got somebody outside the organization, it would have been the first time since Leroy Glover, but it's the first time since Jay Ratliff. But unlike Ratliff, who did it as a 3-4 nose tackle, right? He was such a dog. He was crazy, but he was such a dog. Osa and Ratliff do share that they're undersized 3-tech types. And you just hope he can be a menace that Ratliff was, but better off the field or in the locker room per se. But you kind of needed that crazed dog mentality. I don't mind it at all. But here's what we need from Osa. We need Osa now to level up, right? That's the kind of the theme here. Not saying that Osa wasn't good last year. Absolutely was, right? He was top 5 in pressures. He had a career high in sacks, I believe 4.5. He is not going to be a sack monster. We know that. But we kind of need him to turn into one, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying sacks are the only thing that matter, right? Because pressures matter as well. But I can tell you something right now. They're not paying the $52 million for him to be with DeMarcus Lawrence. That was the thing, right? D-Law, there's nothing against D-Law when he was at his top of his game, but D-Law wasn't the playmaker that he had been in previous times, right? And Osa's kind of inverse of this, that I think Osa will be fine as a pass rusher, 100%. I think he'll level up to a 6-7 sack, if not more, guy. And where you want to see him to level up, though, to match that, to balance that, is against the run. And in this scheme, which is why I'm actually featuring him here, Matt Eberflus talks about how the 3-tech position is the engine to this defense. And if he's the engine to the defense, you want to have a damn good engine, right? Point blank, period. You want that engine firing on all cylinders. And when you get paid, expectations rise. So you could say, well, Sky had a career year. How can he get better? Yeah. You're going to need Osa to get better. If you want this defense to reach its peak, even if they would have went out and added more people, which they didn't. So he kind of needs to level up. When I say more people, I mean more needle movers. If you want this defense to improve, it kind of starts with Osa. It kind of does, because this defense is going to be about penetration, getting upfield, being active. Think Rob Marinelli, right? Think Rob Marinelli for the interior. And then these edge guys are going to be, or specifically left defense end type guy, contained, run, and Micah's just going to get after the damn quarterback. But it doesn't work. It does not work if Osa Odighizuwa kind of just plateaus, right? It doesn't work if he doesn't ascend. If he's just, and he was a fantastic player last year, but if he's the same guy, I don't think this defense can really take the next step. Now, there's a lot they got to do. They got to help him out. They have to pair him with the 1-tech, and there's a bunch of those guys in the draft. But it starts, I think, with Osa. It starts with the guy that just got the bag. All right. So I wanted to be quick with that. Apologies. But let me get to get to my guy Tuck real quick, and then I gotta go. Jay Tuck, what's good, bro?
Hey, what's going on with you, dog, man? Hey, you know, in game, bro, when Captain America and all them was fighting Thanos and they was getting their ass whooped, and all of a sudden that portal opened and you saw Black Panther walk out, like, that's how I felt, bro, this morning when I just jumped on my iPad and saw you was going live. It's like, yo, Sky is back, bro. We need your help out here, dog. We need your help, man. So welcome back, bro, because you was definitely missing this space, bro.
Appreciate you, big dog. We've been talking throughout, even before I came back, so you already know what it is.
Yeah, man. Congrats on everything you got going on, man. But I want to kind of talk about something. You mentioned the draft, right, with the 12, and I was talking about this earlier this morning when it comes to DMV. I think the tricky part, honestly, amongst Cowboys fans right now when it comes to the draft is that, one, we are going into where I say the grocery store hungry. We have a lot of holes, right? Yep. Whether you want to argue right guard, I still think left tackle is possibly a concern. You have the running back room. You have wide receiver too. Now we're talking about corner, defensive tackle, even linebacker. So I feel like the Cowboys not addressing our needs in free agency with opening up all the conversations and uncertainty at pick 12. And also, Sky, I feel like when it comes to this draft class, there is a lot of tags touching. so it's not clear separation, right? The Micah draft, we kind of knew, like, as phenomenal as that draft class was, we was going to leave with something. But I feel like once you get outside of, like, the Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty, Mason Graham type of players, I mean, there's not really clear separation. So I feel like, for me personally, the Cowboys have to hit on at least 2 to 3 of these guys. This can't be another project draft where we're talking about let these guys develop in 2 to 3 years. We might have something special. We need to know when we walk out the draft here next week that we have instant impact guys, instant
That's
starters.
every year for Dallas to me because of how they move in free agency. They don't move in a way where they can afford their top 2 picks at the very least. 3 is every here and there. You want them to be immediate contributors, but the top 2 absolutely have to be dudes like that. Now where I'll push back a little bit is specifically at 12. I don't know how you don't walk away with a guy that steps in right now and is likely better than the guy that at that position you drafted him for. I don't know how you don't. That's what I mean by you. I don't believe in wiped out at 12. 44, you can argue different conversation. That's literally 43 picks before you. 12, yeah, maybe there's 3, 4, 5 elite guys, and that's arguable to some people, but we're talking about dudes that can come in here and be better than the guys you got and can be really good pros for you. I think you can get that at 12. I don't believe in wiped out at 12. 44, 76, but not 12.
You can get it, Sky, but I don't feel like, let's say, for instance, you have Golden, Tech, Genty, they all go before 12, right? So then you're looking at from the wide receiver standpoint, Mecca Buka, which I think he's decent, but is he worth 12? Possibly not for me, too rich for my blood. I don't think the Cowboys would draft Luther Burden. So then you're thinking about pushing the wide receiver room to
don't say you don't think the Cowboys wouldn't draft Luther Burden. Do you believe in Luther Burden? Do you believe?
I do believe in Luther Burden.
Okay.
I believe. I love Luther Burden.
Okay. So Luther Burden at 12, they take him.
Right.
Then what's the conversation then?
Yeah, I think you get a hell of a player. I don't think the Cowboys would do that.
I think Emeka Buka is a hell of a player too. Look, here's my thing. Okay, I get.
Yeah, I think we get upgrades. Yeah, we get upgrades.
There we go. I get that. There's only some people have only 13 or 15 first round grades. Somebody put something out a couple weeks ago that I totally agree with. Bro, there's 32 picks in the first round. If you have a guy if you have a guy in the top 32. They a first round motherfucking player. That's just how I look at it. But I get traditionally, that's not what people say. Oh, well, you know what? You know, he's 22 on my board, but he's a second round. All right, cool, whatever. Y'all want to operate in that way, that's fine. But the Cowboys picking at 12 will have a guy, probably 100%, that they'll take and will come in here and immediately improve your roster at that position that will be better than another guy. If you want to talk about the value stuff and all that, like you said, I heard a lot of people say this. Golden's not worth it at 12. Mecca's not worth it at 12. And so forth, so on, right? Hampton's not worth it at 12. Mm-hmm. The reality is those dudes actually will be worth it for you right now and probably for the next 3 to 4 years under their rookie contract. Now, in the long run, if you get a better draft class, will those guys have been 12 picks? Probably not. But this is what we're working with. This is the pool, Tuck. This is the pool.
Right. It's the pool, right? But I think, once again, it's going back to not addressing free agency. So you go back to last year, right? When we drafted Tyler Guyton, yes, he was an upgrade over the left tackle that we had because we didn't have it, but was he the best player possibly available that we could have got?
That's different.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel
that's
like,
different.
Yes, whoever we draft at 12 is going to be an upgrade because we don't have anything. You see what I'm saying?
No, that's different. Last year, you could have been wiped out. I think that's different. When I say wiped out, again, I mean, I'm not naive to the fact that there usually in drafts, there's probably, you say only like 3 to 5 maybe this year. Usually there's only like 10, 12 of them dudes. You like, yeah, let's go, baby. And then the rest is like, okay, fit a role. Maybe it's a project and things like that. There were maybe 4 tackles and I'm like, yes. And then there's Tyler Guyton, who I'm like, project, right? And you're picking at 20. Where they pick him? 27 or something? They traded down at 20. Yes, there's a situation at 27 where now you kind of got to settle. But at 12, I don't think you're in a position to settle. I think, and even Guyton. Now, granted, you was dealing with who was it? Chuma Edoga. There wasn't much competition there, right? But Guyton had warts to the point where you knew you were dealing with a growth situation where it's going to take a couple years. again, the Mecca, Golden, and we're talking about the wide receivers, Luther Burden, Ted McMillan, whichever one of the running backs, if you want to call it a reach, that's fine. And we're just talking offense. You go to defensive side, if you get guys sliding down some of these defensive tackles, you love that. Offensive lineman, what's I forget, Mmabu, or I can't say his name. He's not bad either. Yeah. I mean, he could be a guard. So like, there's dudes that step right in that are better than these guys, and probably a lot better than these guys. And some people may be higher or lower, but I guarantee you, Emeka Egbuka coming here right now, he's wide receiver too, and he improves the room. And not just because like, oh, your room sucks, but he's good. He's good. Luther Burden, he's good. Ted McMillan, he's good.
Right.
Golden, they're good players. We're at a draft fatigue point right now where we're nitpicking like hell and forgetting, and not you because you said it, we're going to the grocery store hungry, forgetting that these guys will improve your wide receiver room. It's now a matter of preference.
Right. Preference. I see exactly what you're saying. So so what you're saying is, as long as we get a wide receiver, right, we're upgrading over Jalen Tope.
We're upgrading immensely.
I get that point.
We're upgrading.
Yeah, exactly. Because even like last year, I know that Graham Barton, who we were high on, we traded away from Graham Barton and got cute, and then we got Tyler Guyton. So it's just like, I mean, for me personally,
facts,
I
bro.
want to get a
I said
guy
we was
at
wiped
12.
out. We really wasn't. Graham Barton would have. Yeah, I'm saying you could have got Graham Barton, and if you got Freaky, you could have still got Cooper Beebe.
You had Brian Thomas, who was right there. Like you could have,
Terry
last year. You had Bucky
Arnold,
you could have brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think like it has to be instant impact. I just feel like
I agree.
It just can't for me to be a guy that I'm kind of thinking, okay, give him
Shamar
a few
Stewart.
years, and I just feel like
Can't be one of them.
Huh? Yeah, Shamar Stewart. Yeah. I know there's been a lot of stuff about Tyler Booker, and I think he's a good guard. This is like it doesn't move the needle for me. We need needle movers at this 12 spot, and also at 44. So. That's why I've been a proponent of going wide receiver and also running back. So, but we'll definitely see next week, man. So yeah.
Oh, that's facts, man. We don't need projects. We don't need guys.
Well, welcome back, bro. And you know what I'm saying. And we'll definitely link up soon.
Appreciate you. 100%. Appreciate you, bro.
Okay.
All facts there, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to guys having to come in right now, and. Unfortunately, that's kind of been my mentality with the Cowboys in general. I don't necessarily always have that mentality for, say, a Ravens team, a 49ers team, who else is Kansas City, right? Philly. Like, these guys can afford to get guys that can kind of slowly but sure. Look at it. You draft Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith, and people was keying and laughing at you, but those dudes made huge impacts after a few years because they are now the Kobe Dean. They didn't have a lot of linebackers, but they kind of were in a room that allowed them to grow in that way. Cowboys don't have that luxury. They hardly ever have the luxury because they don't build up their team in that manner. And then the problem becomes by the time that they do have these guys like Dorrance Armstrong or Connor McGovern or whomever else that are role players at a sense of maybe being a little bit more, it's time to pay up. And they're not paying them dudes. They're not going to pay those types. They don't view them in that manner. They'll pay them. They'll pay them $38, as Vach would say. And them dudes is like, no. So now you start over, right? All right, let's go get these guys in the draft. And I talked about that cycle. I didn't want to go back to it, but that's how they do it. That's why I say it all the time, man. Free agency is a lot more important for this organization than probably any because of the lack of getting starters long term, which puts you in this hole that talking about going to the grocery store hungry or going to the grocery store high. I don't know how many of y'all have ever done that, but it ain't fun after it wears off. You just buying the most unnecessary stuff in there because you thought about it. Then you get to the crib like, man, I probably didn't need this donut flavored cotton candy inside a Pop-Tart. Man, it sure sounded real good though when I was high there in that grocery store. You know what I mean? Yeah, you going to the grocery store high, Tuck. They not even going hungry. They got the munchies. They took an edible, forgot they took the edible, and still smoked. Yeah. That's how desperate right now. And that's why I don't believe in wiped out at 12. Them boys need everything. Gummy worm sandwich. Yeah. They need everything. But I hope I was articulating myself enough to get my point across to Tuck in that. Draft nits, is it nits? Draft nits? I get it. You guys have to rank these guys. You guys have to nitpick them. You guys have to say, is this guy worth it at 12? As thinking as the Cowboys, you can't afford to nitpick a damn thing. You can't afford to sit at 12 and be like, all the wide receivers are available. We didn't just talk about wide receivers. I know we're stuck at wide receivers. I'm talking about wide receivers. Or at least one of them is taking it. You like, you know what? He got it. I didn't. We gonna take Shamar Stewart. He feels safe. Like, no. You can't afford that. Get you a dude and walk out of there and be fine. There's gonna be a dude at 12, man. It's gonna be a dude at 12. Where it gets tricky is after that. I think there'll still be players, worth it in day 2, but that's where they can't be fucking around in that second round, man. If you're gonna mess around in that second round, trade that. Trade it. Go get me a proven guy in the NFL. But I agree, you cannot get cute. You got cute last year, but you got a 3rd round pick. And you got Cooper Beebe. So the sting isn't as, it ain't a Steve Irwin type of sting, rest in peace. But it sting a little bit. You got Graham Barton. We could do that every draft. But don't get cute. I'm okay with trade down now. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. And especially, again, the draft nits, the worth, right? There might not be anybody worth, fine. But if you can pick up another guy or another pick in the top 100 and you're still in, say, the top 15, 16, 17, 18 of the draft, there's going to be a dude at 15, 16, 17, 18. That's just how I feel. I just don't think you're going to be in a position to be totally wiped out in the top 15 of this draft or so. Not the Cowboys. Too many holes, bro. Too many holes. And that's something else, too. Facts, man. That's something else, too. Like Vaj say, teams suck at drafting. There's 100% going to be somebody that probably gets taken where they don't need to be and somebody gets dropped down. That's just how it works, man. That's how it works. All right, last one here. Shouts out to my guy Nacho in the building. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Hey, Sky, how are you? This is Nacho. I thought I was out of the loop with you, but I'm glad that as I'm listening that you're back and everything. It's a blessing to have you back. There's a sense of renewed optimism and hope, if you will. And let's go with that. There's a feeling of that new positive vibe, energy, whether it's through the new coaching staff, that locker room, and simply just having a new voice in there. So, yeah.
I mean, it's always, I shouldn't say always, but there is some excitement to a new regime. Even if it's right. A regime, when I say regime, I mean a head coach that you may have not wanted. There's always excitement because there's always that unknown, and especially with Shotty, there's an unknown. But Shotty, I think he brings a different level of excitement through his personality than Mike McCarthy did. You were hoping to lean on Mike McCarthy's resume than more of Mike McCarthy, the coach, the personality. Shotty brings a certain level of not just what he does as a coach, but who he is as a person that kind of gets you excited.
Absolutely, Sky, and the thing about the draft coming up, and how there's so many different scenarios and debates of what we might do and all that. I agree to your point and to some of the callers. We're drafting in the top 12. It's almost drafting like you're drafting in the top 10. You're going to get a player. I mean, based on their board, 2 to 3 players they have on top of that.
They cooking you in the chat, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Are going to be there, and my hope, of course, and that of many, I guess, is that there's the McMillan and Golden debate, if it's there. if it's not there, maybe you trade down and you go get a Ibuka. You go get your Omarion later in the first or something like that, and you kind of shift that way, and you're still going to be okay.
Yeah.
What do you think on that? I mean,
look, if you can trade, Professor O is making a good point here. There's probably the market to trade up is probably not high unless like Shador slides and you got a hungry quarterback hungry team. But I'll say this. I mean, they've shown in the last half decade that they will trade down a little bit. I mean, they went from 10 to 12 with Micah and picked up a third. So if I can go from 12 to 14 and get a third, let's rock. Let's rock. So I'm not trying to. What I'm not trying to do is I'm not trying to trade to 28. I'm not trying to trade out of the first round. Like then to me you're just basically punting. But I don't mind if some team is just dead set on a guy a few picks ahead of you or below you to move down and try to pick up a third. What they did with Micah Parsons is exactly what I would love to do. Slide down 2 spots, pick up a third, and you still got your guy, right? And at that point, because what we don't know at home is that these picks are already in. These conversations are already had. They were able to move down to get Micah without the risk of losing Micah because they already had those conversations. Eagles want Smith. I think it was the Giants or Bears want XYZ. So they were able to slide down knowing they can get their guy. So you slide down 2 spots, 3 spots, sure. But you do have to have 2 to tango. And that's really what's unpredictable.
14 to 20, right, Sky? Maybe that might be a good gap of where you can trade down and maybe and add another, whether it's a second, a third, or a fourth, and kind of retrieve that fourth that we don't have, and just go ahead and draft your players. That would be outstanding. Hey, listen, Sky, I'm gonna let you go, but hey, great to have you back. This is Nacho, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, brother. Y'all ain't shit in this chat sometimes, man. Not so excited, man. I won't be excited. So, like I say, a lot of times with this team, you kind of have to alter. You gotta have to alter your vision, man. I do think there are. We going to they ain't saying that shit no more. We going to the Super Bowl every year, fans, and that's the fans. You say, all right, man, just give them on the pat in the back, hey, man, yeah. But then there are fans who are just genuinely excited each and every year, and I don't think anything wrong with that. But I do think there is a level of excitement in a new regime, especially when the previous regime you was kind of getting tired of in a way, right? Like when we was tired of Jason Garrett. Did I want Mike? Nah, he wasn't my first choice, but damn it, Jason Garrett got up out of there and we did some things we hadn't done in a long time. We hadn't done under Jason Garrett. Now, we didn't improve to where we wanted to. It is what it is. Got tired of Mike. I got tired of Mike. Some people didn't get tired of Mike, but I got tired of Mike because Mike just wouldn't step into the new age of the NFL. And Mike is a bit of a pushover, and so Shotty will probably not push back. I don't know. We'll see. But I got tired of it. I think it was time for a change. Was there another guy I wanted than Shotty? Absolutely. But there is level of excitement just being just a fan of a new regime and new ways and new team building. And to me, the exciting part is not what they did in the offseason acquiring players. It's what they did acquiring these coaches. Do I expect? I don't talk no damn. Ain't nobody talking no damn Super Bowl. Okay, I'm just trying to take one step at a time here. I'm trying to find ways to improve this roster with mostly what we got and what we can get. And I think a lot of that has to start with these coaches. Has to. I don't preach coaching matters for so many years for no reason. I don't give a damn, even if you got couple of the teams, not all the teams, a couple of the teams that we had. I didn't say this. Bill Belichick said this. You can't overcome bad coaching. You could argue you can't overcome bad front offices either. Overcoming both, that's hard. That's hard to do. You need to have a souped up squad. Dallas does not put together souped up squads, contrary to popular belief. Don't you believe these trolls? Don't you believe these trolls? Okay? They don't put together souped up squads. You don't see the Eagles rosters rolling over here year in, year out. Kansas City some odd years ago, the Rams, the Bucks. They don't do that. They see the flashy stuff, right? They love that one statistic. The Cowboys are the first team to have 4,000, 1,000, 1,000, 10 sacks. It's more common than you think in regards to all that except the 10 picks. But see, you had that little thing in there, and it's like, look, oh. Yeah, if the game was won by 5 players, sure. It's not how it works. But these trolls, bro, they get you. I retired all that, man. I was in these streets on the Facebooks and Twitter. I'm done with all that mess. Let's talk ball. I'm here to talk ball. Shouts out to DMV, Angry Cowboys fan in the building. My boy Mel, smoke one for you. Mel, we was just talking about smoking. The Cowboys is going into the draft high as hell right now, so they're going to come away with... hopefully they smart with it. I don't know about some of y'all, but, you know, sometimes you fire one up, man, get some good ideas. What's the conversation? Phone lines open. Vet 71. What's the conversation? It's a live show. Of course, there's a lot of talk about a lot of things here. Please feel free to tell me what the conversation is, and we can talk about that. Appreciate you, Angry Cowboys fan. Mel said Jalen Tolbert as your wide 2 does not equal super team. Absolutely not. Come on. Absolutely not. Fern said, I think defense line coaching needs to be on point. Mozzie, Sam Williams, and Nealon were all high investments that need to pay off. Man, that's another conversation that we're probably going to have at some point. Usually, I would do a review of the room. Maybe I'll do that at some point before the draft. But yeah, Mozzie Smith, Sam Williams, and Marshawn. Now, the Marshawn Nealon, the question mark is still out. Marshawn Nealon. But if Nealon can't be that guy for you, and he's just another like Dorrance Armstrong type, I give up on second round, bro. I just do. I just do. Phone lines open for you, or Cowboys 71 or Vet 71, or you can drop what the conversation is in here and we can continue to talk about it. Oh, we want to smoke. Think I'm finna run for some smoke? Come on now. Rolo said Dallas called my work phone. Is Jeff Kavanaugh? Is Jeff looking for Scott? I just talked to Jeff. Me and Jeff actually supposed to be doing some work. All right, here's a conversation about the usual picks, wide receiver and running back. What does that even mean? Come on, man. You gotta be a little bit more clear on what you're talking about here, dog. About the usual picks, wide receiver and running back. What is the conversation? How about don't just type 4 words? Tell me what the conversation is. Let's wrap to my guy DMV. What's up with you, bro?
Hey, what's up, Sky? How you doing, bro? Look, my boy Tuck texted and said it's refreshing to have Sky back. So I was just
appreciate y'all, man.
Saw the phone lines was open. So yeah, the coaching impact, bro. The conversation is the offensive line to me, right? Like I
it's a
think
big topic conversation.
We would all talk about how the offensive line, we spent a lot of resources there, you know, and I think that we need that to pan out. And I think that we brought the good coaches in, and with the coaches that we brought in, I know that we're trying to set an identity. So with that, we have to stick to that identity, and that's running the football. That's, you know, if we're going to draft the offensive lineman to run the football, we have to be able to stick with running the football. If we're going to try and run the football, we're going to have to bring a runner in here that we're going to feel proud and have the pride to run the football and hand him the football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, we keep saying these things, and ironically, I have a clip of Mike McCarthy saying a lot of the same things that Shotty has been saying, you know, with how we want to marry the run game to the pass and all that type of stuff. It all sounds good. but we need the actions to kind of back that up. And I think that with these draft picks, we're going to need that.
Yeah, I think the difference is with Mike, you had a history of that not being the case. So I called Mike out on that bullshit immediately. I was like, what? All right, Mike McCarthy. I believe it when I see it. Shotty's the opposite in that you have a history of him actually doing that in Seattle. The caveat, I think, with Schottenheimer is, was it because Pete Carroll forced his hand? Or was it because you truly do believe in it? That's where we have to kind of see, his words actually mattered. But I do believe in it because I believe, Shotty being so many different places, college ball, NFL, under so many coordinators and head coaches, offensive coordinator, film guy, just so many different jobs that he's had. I think it's allowed him to adapt. Like he naturally adapts to the league because he's had to. McCarthy did not.
For sure.
So I believe in him, but you're right. We have to see it, right? We just do.
And you bring up a good point, bro. And for people out there like me, myself, like I'm a coach's kid, bro. Like I'm a coach's kid, but I also coach.
You also coach. Yeah, you're a coach's coach.
But you are who your father is when it comes to that. And Marty ran the ball, bro. Marty also had dudes to run the football. And I don't think that you could just throw anybody back there.
No.
So it's my job to let everybody know, like, it's got to be somebody we're proud of, bro. We cannot go into this thing like I'm gonna go on, not my deathbed, but like I'm going out on my sword and saying, like, first 2 rounds, and it don't got to be first round, but first 2 rounds.
We talked about this on. We talked about this on Twitter.
We talked about it on Twitter.
Yep. I think second round is sweet spot. Third round is right about where I would, if you're going to wait, that's the last part to wait for me. Now, I get it. You can still find some quality after that, but then it really has to be strategically a tandem, right? In my opinion, maybe a Martinez Smith type of tandem, or, you know what I mean? It has to be a legitimate tandem that you're legitimately going to use. We can't be doing, we're going to take Deuce Vaughn in the 6th round and be happy with it. Like, nah, man. Like they need to address the position meaningfully, purposefully. Let me say that.
Yeah. I love that word that you use, purposefully, because at the end of the day, this is what I don't trust. I don't trust because we suck at building committees. We've tried it. We suck at it. But we don't suck when we have somebody that we know that purposely you're leading our charge. And it's been a while since, if you think about every good team that we've had, every team that we've had that contends, there's always been that running back. He's always been, I'm not going to say he's been the leader, but he's been that guy where, you know what I'm saying? Like, you getting that image jersey.
Unfortunately, that's the case for the Cowboys. But there is something to having the tandems and duos. Like, I don't know if you want to consider that a committee or not. I think committee to me is more of a three-man approach.
I'm just saying I don't know if in the rooms they're pushing if it's not somebody that they specifically like handpicked to do it. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
So, like, if they don't get a workhorse type, you're not confident in them putting together a backfield.
Yes.
Honestly,
exactly.
bro, I don't think I can't argue that, because the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, it is.
I cannot argue that. Like, would I love for them to get some type of, draft 2 backs on day, say, end of day 2 or start of day 3 or whatever, and be good? Yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome if I could address defensive tackle, corner, wide receiver before that, and I'm getting dudes. But am I confident that the proof says they don't do that? The proof says that they're better off, like you said, with a workhorse guy or a lead back in a Tony Pollard type that they eventually were forced to do a tandem situation. So you're not wrong, man. I mean, we've been in situations where they tried it in 2015 and then finally DMC said, man, give me that. Y'all bringing in Christine Michael and Joseph Randall out here stealing draws in Cologne, and and they tried it last year with Zeke, who was done, and Rico Dowdle, and they tried it the year before with a messed up ankle Tony Pollard and Rico. The proof is in the pudding. You're right. I don't know that I'd have confidence in them putting together a feared or a top run game if they don't bring in a dude at running back.
Yeah, and they've already showed you in free agency they're not going to go sign a running back that is a valued starter and then draft a guy maybe in the third or fourth round. They won't do it, bro. They just won't. So our only shot is if it's like we said, bro, go get me my Balenciagas, go get me my Gucci, go get me my Gucci running back, dog. Like because they're not gonna bring
the only hope you would have, because see, if any other organization, I'm really not tripping, right? Because a lot of these other not any other organization, but some specific organizations, I'd be like, you know what, whatever. We got an O-line, we got a run scheme, we got coaching and all that stuff. You would be fine if they waited or whatever, because they've proven that they can do this. But the Cowboys, the hope that you have, if they don't address the position in the top 100 or top 75, 76, is that, again, Clayton Adams, Connor Riley, and Schottenheimer bring something to this team that they've lacked since Bill Callahan, and that's quality coaching up front and a run scheme. Because I still am a very big believer is if I have a legit scheme and legit coaching, and you utilize that, yeah, you don't need Adrian Peterson. You don't need 2016 Zeke. But the Cowboys didn't have that in the last couple. Mike Solari, okay, and no run scheme. Joe Philbin and no real run scheme. So it's kind of hard to trust them, you know? So maybe you do need Adrian Peterson to ask Genti.
No, I think and to Clayton Adams' point, I think the biggest success he had with Connor and Benson last year. But I think the greatest success of his resume is when they got Jonathan Taylor, and we knew what Jonathan Taylor was coming out. We knew it, you know. And
sure, but his resume speaks for itself, bro. Like, again, he got to he got to Indianapolis, and they were, I think, 7th in rushing his first year, and they haven't been ranked in the top 10 in rushing in 20 years prior to him getting there. And then obviously you got Jonathan Taylor, and he was breaking franchise records. He gets to who was it? Let me see. I actually think I have the. There it is. He got to Arizona, and Connor wasn't. He was pretty average to below average, and then he gets there and he starts averaging 5 yards per carry under Clayton Adams. He has more 10-yard. He had more 10-yard gains in 1 year than he had combined the previous two. Like that's crazy. 15-yard gains, 29. The previous two, 13. So like Clayton Adams is going to have an effect, but I'm with you in that. I don't want them to solely lean on that and forget that you still need some talent back there, because your room to me is deprived of it in that way.
Yeah, for sure. And to the point about Clayton Adams, and to the point about the Dallas Cowboys, we haven't shown that we would go out and get a James Conner, and Trey Benson was a premium pick considered for the running back position last year. He just so happened to slide. Like, running back slid for whatever reason he did, but Trey Benson was considered the class of that draft, and they still ended up getting him with. So, like you said, other teams can somehow build it. We just haven't shown the track record of being able to do it.
That's fair. That is fair, DMV. Straight up, good stuff.
Appreciate you having me, my guy.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all follow DMV Fanatics on YouTube and on that's your name on Twitter?
DMV Fanatic 1 on Twitter.
The Fanatic 1 on Twitter.
Somebody took it. For you.
All right, brother.
All right.
That's good stuff, and that is, you know, as much as I'm team. Look, I don't need an Adrian Peterson. Give me some good blocking and a good scheme. More importantly, my opinion, good coaching, and I think I can make it work. Definitely if I got a Dak Prescott and a CD Lamb out there and with a Tet or somebody, but hate to lean on history, man. But shouts out to Mel was talking about, you know, Felix and Marion and Zeke and TP had a year really, and that's what we basically were trying to force TP out there. It took y'all his third year to getting more carries and be featured as a tandem. I remember talking about it this rookie year. Said, dog, this can help Zeke. I don't care if you just paid him. It can help further along his career if you take some pressure off of him. He never did it, and Zeke kept going out there getting banged up. But it's something to think about. Dallas, historically speaking, struggles to consistently put out quality tandem / running back committee back. They damn sure don't do committees. You can just scratch that. But from time to time, the tandem, they'll have a tandem that pops. Like, we forget, I know this gonna sound crazy because DeMarco Murray he broke the damn record. But right behind him, Joseph Randle was extremely efficient that year, if you guys remember. And in fact, to the point, they was like, all right, cool. DeMarco, go. We'll rock out with Joseph Randle. And Joseph Randle, it wasn't that Joseph Randle was bad. Just Joseph Randle was just a nutcase, man. I think Tuck was telling me some stuff about Randle because he's from that area. But he was just a nut. And then they went through this recycling committee in 2015 until they settled on DMC. I know we've had Barber, we've had Felix, but that wasn't a long-term thing. We had Julius and Felix, I believe, as well. That wasn't a long-term thing. They'll have some years where it pops like that. Zeke and TP had a year where it popped like that. But it's not something that they're accustomed to doing year in and year out. I remember there was a period in time in the Giants where they just were doing it for a long time. Pittsburgh did it for a good bit after tail end of Jerome. Hell, Kansas City does it a lot. You're seeing it right now in Buffalo, even though Cook's the guy. Again, there's a difference. You can have a lead back in a tandem / committee, but not a workhorse. Baltimore has been doing it for a long time. Granted, it's kind of weird because Jackson also runs the ball. But that is what you do now. You have from time to time, like last year with Barkley and Henry and Jacobs, you'll get about 3 to 4 guys that are workhorses, but majority of the league it's 2 to 3 dudes. Buccaneers, they got multiple guys. Dallas hasn't proven to consistently be able to do beyond 2 guys, but I'm all for a tandem. However, if you bring in a Genty or a Marion Hampton, I don't think you need to draft another one. You can get that second guy probably end of the draft or unrestricted free agency. Yeah, Joseph Randle, meat on the bone. I remember that. Yeah, Tuck. I remember you was telling me about old Joe Randle. I don't even Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden, I don't even think even really got busy together. I think D-Mac, something happened to him. And he didn't play till later, and Alfred Morris took his spot. Yeah, with Zeke, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all done flood the lines again, so I do got some work I got to do, but hey, he talked to y'all in a while, so let's talk some more a little bit here. 910, what's up?
Yo, what's up, guys? Smoke one for you, brother.
What's good with you? Smoke one for you?
Man, hey, first of all, God bless you and your family, my man.
Thank you,
I'm
bro.
glad to see you back online. I'm telling you, I was looking on your daggone whole page. I'm like, man, where is Sky at? I haven't seen that dude in a minute.
Was you looking on the other page or this one?
I was looking on both.
Okay.
I'm on both of them, so I'm still watching the other one. I'm saying, but this page here, I'm like, man, I haven't seen him on this one in a minute.
Yeah, I took a little hiatus,
anyway,
but we back.
man. Yeah, exactly, bro. Man, anyway, bro, like, I got one real quick question, bro. What is the average age of our coaches this year compared to last year?
Let's see. Last year, the average age had to be about 102. No, they're way younger. Let me tell you that right now. Okay, you're not rolling out a dude who coached with goddamn Tom Landry out there, and before that, Joe Philbin actually wasn't as old as I thought. He just looked like the Grim Reaper when he was here, but he wasn't as old as I thought. Mike is 60, right? 60 or so. You're right. It's definitely going to be a younger, more enthused group in there, probably. And that's not to discredit the old folk. I'm not my age shaming because Pete Carroll is one of the most enthusiastic 80-year-olds I know. But I said this before in regards to that room. Think about it, bro. They had Sleepy Solari and Joe Philbin in there, dog. How motivated is you? How much motivation can you get out of a Joe Philbin and Sleepy Solari? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, that might be a big difference too, bro. Because you think about it, most of our coaches we got right now came from the college ranks, and they're still young, bro. Like, I mean, they have young minds of what is going on in this time of
Stoutland
football.
might be around Philbin's age, but I don't know if y'all seen some of Stoutland's coaching tape. Stoutland's a unit, and Stoutland is more military, he's more Pete Carroll than he is Sleepy Solari, by the way. He's a unit, man.
Right. So if you had a choice between the O-line coach we have now and our other O-line coach, how do you feel about that, bro?
Say that again. I'm sorry, that last part.
Like the old O-line coach and the new one we got. If you had a choice between the two, where would you go?
Come on, man. I just set you up here about our guy Clayton Adams. His resume speaks for itself. I mean, it's impeccable. And like I said, if I sound like a broken record, that's because that record is platinum, certified, hanging up.
Exactly.
And if he do it again here, it'll be diamond. Okay? Like Clayton Adams is like that. You just hope he can have that Adams effect on not just Terrence, right? You want to have it on the whole entire offensive line, but yeah, man, I think Adams is like that.
Yeah, I think once we get the playmakers around that, and once we get our O-line right, and the defense is on check, bro. I mean, we might feel a different type of look, but everybody's already writing them off, man, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, once we get our weapons in the defense correct, man, I think we probably look a little bit better when we get to them. It's hard to say, bro.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. The Cowboys didn't have a great offseason. Not saying it was terrible because they participated, but they didn't have an offseason that moves the needle. So you're going to get, and then after what happened last year, Dak coming back from injury, a lot of holes still left. I get why there's doubt, 100%. But my job is not to try to prove to them people that, oh yeah, this team is a Super Bowl contender. I'm just trying to continue to find ways to just improve on what they got. They're not going to do everything I want them to do. Like, I know how they're going to move, but let me just find a way to talk about where they can improve, bro. But appreciate the call, Smoke, one for you.
Yep, man. How's you, man?
Appreciate it. Is Joe Philbin still in the NFL? I have no idea. And I'm not saying Philbin was like terrible, because I probably would have rather had him than Sleepy Solari. But man, it must be nice to have Hank Fraley for 4 or 5 years in a row. Man, it must be nice to have Jeff Stoutland for like 20 years in a row. It must be nice to have guys like Mike Munchak, or where he's a stable voice in teaching. It must be nice to have a Bill Callahan. Dallas is about to go through their third offensive line coach in the last 4 seasons. Yeah. About to go through their third play caller in the last, 3 seasons? 4 seasons as well, I believe. Kellen, Mike, Shoddy. And that's not an excuse. There's other teams that go through these changes, but maybe that's a topic we need to talk about. And we had brought this up before. Obviously Kellen Moore went on to be a head coach now. If you go date back to Bill Parcells, he had a lot of guys that are head coaches now. But from the Jason Garrett era on up, when you talk about coaching trees and you talk about farm systems, there was an article that came out. I brought it up before. Like 76 coaches were featured in there. I don't think one of them were a Cowboys coach. If I'm not mistaken, I don't even think Al Harris was on the list. In Cowboys community, he is loved. But I don't even think he was on the list of those kind of, hey, up and coming head coach material, coordinator material guys. That's telling. That's telling. And again, let me circle this back real quick, because I'm not, people get all upset when you be real about this team. They want you to be, everything has to be Skittles and rainbows. I don't operate like that. I mean, I call it what it is. If something good, something good. If something bad, something bad. That goes back to maybe that guy up top, if you want to use the C word in culture. My man said something very important 32 or so years ago. I can get 500 coaches to coach this team. I'd argue since then, he don't respect that position. And he's moved in that way. Just saying. And I digress. All right, man. Let's fly through these real quick. I don't got the clock, but let's speed through them. I'm already in super duper overtime. 828. What's on your mind?
What's going on, Skywalker Still? It's your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. How you doing this morning?
We can slow it down a little bit. I thought I recognized the voice, man. You might, hey, look, Law Nation, I love you to death, dog, but Angry Cowboys fan might have the best radio voice in the land, man. You ain't working radio before?
No, sir, I haven't. I appreciate the compliment, though.
I don't know how, but you got a booming radio voice, bro. What's up? What's on your mind?
Well, I was just thinking about, the coaching staff that we had back, Mike McCarthy and everything. Mike McCarthy, Brandon Cooks came out and said that Mike McCarthy didn't know how to properly use him. And there's this misconception that when Mike McCarthy was here that we didn't run the ball. But the year that he came, we had a regressing Ezekiel Elliott, 2020, and we were 5th in the league in rushing attempts. 2021 we were 7th, 2022 we were 10th. So we ran the ball, but the thing is that I believe Mike McCarthy's concepts and his schemes and his play calling wasn't up to par. It was a little outdated, and I hope and I feel that, Brian Schottenheimer coming with the concept of Marty Ball and being a younger coach, he'll be able to get this offensive run game going with a decent running back. Like, if we pick up a Genty or an Amarion Hampton, that the scheme as well as what they bring to the team will be able to shine better than it did with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, let's remember those early years. It really wasn't McCarthy pulling the trigger, right? That was Kellen Moore. So the issue with Kellen, now we kept telling even Cowboy fans, but non-Cowboy fans, because they kept throwing numbers in our face, and we're like, it's not about the volume of numbers. It's not the numbers you see that look pretty, right? Ranked number 1. It was about, could I put this? It was about when, and it was about how. It was about, hey, is he calling the run when we need to run the ball? You know what I mean? Game management skills, right? That was where McCarthy got into trouble, but also Kellen Moore. For instance, I'll give you a couple games. Green Bay Packer, the Jacksonville game, the Houston game. Why are we throwing the ball in certain situations when we need to be running the ball? Under Kellen Moore, they've always ranked in volume, right? But when it mattered, what happened? We get into the playoffs against the San Francisco 49ers, and Tony Pollard has 3 yards or whatever it is, 3 touches until the last possession of the game. That's uncalled for. We haven't had success on the ground in the playoffs under anybody really in the last since 2018. So under Kellen, to me, it wasn't necessarily about the volume. It was about the how. I didn't like how we ran it because he'd do some cool things and we're like, what? Where'd that go? Where the hell did it go, right, Kellen? And he'd do some cool things, and then we're like, okay, you're doing too damn much. Triple double dog dare you, reverse annexation of Puerto Rico backed up on the 10-yard line, Kellen. What are we doing here, bro? We're up 10 or whatever it was in Green Bay, and we want to throw the ball over the land. All you got to do is run a clock out on 3rd and 20. You want to try to throw a bomb, right? Like, so it was about situational play calling with Kellen more than anything. And then when old boy took over, and this is why I didn't believe in McCarthy, because his track record showed that he wasn't a run the ball guy. It looked like a Mike McCarthy offense to me. It looked like an offense that just, hey man, we'll run the ball to keep up with numbers and keep you honest, but we're not running the ball with a purpose. So I'm with you. I'm hoping that Clayton Adams brings and Shoddy bring a purposeful meaning to how they run the ball.
Right, real talk. And I just want to say I appreciate everything that you do for Cowboys Nation. I appreciate what you do for me as a content creator. You, DMV, J Tuck, everybody that's out here making this quality Cowboys content. I appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the good work, and I don't want to hold your phone lines up too long.
Hey, man,
thank you.
You as well, bro. Keep up the good work. Very, very entertaining and informative show you got over there. The Angry Cowboys fan on YouTube. Make sure you go check them out.
Thank you.
Y'all remember and I don't mean to compare him to a homeless guy, but the homeless guy like 15 years ago that got found on the road because of his voice. And then he became like a radio guy for a little bit and started doing, he had probably the best radio voice I ever heard in my life until I heard Angry Cowboys fan. I heard Angry Cowboys fan. I said, dang, that's a booming. And the reason why I bring this up, I went to school for broadcast journalism and radio. We talk a lot about like iconic radio people and their voices and having that booming voice. He definitely has that for sure. But yeah, I mean, Delonte West. Nah, they call him like the golden voice or something. I'm not trying to compare you to him being homeless, but his voice is crazy. But yeah, that there's a lot of nuance and context to the Cowboys run game that I don't think mainstream and trolls really care to dive into them. But that's what we here for, man. All right, last one here. 210. What's up?
Hey, what's good with you, Scott? I'm glad you're back, man. I used to take the times like you and Bobby back on live, man. Glad you're back, boss. But now I ain't trying to hold you up too much. I just want to get your thoughts on the Jalen Ramsey situation. They looking for a trade partner, and I just want to see if you think the Cowboys are going to be interested on draft night particularly, or you think they're going to let it ride and just do what they always do and just say we're interested, but he costs too much.
You talking about Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah, he just they just posted about he's requesting a trade.
Would. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. I happen to see Jalen Ramsey is up for a trade, and the Dolphins and him are working together. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm picking up that phone, and I'm trying to find a way. I give up a day 3 pick. We don't got a 4th rounder, huh? I give up a day 3 pick. If I would try to hold off on a 3rd for sure, but damn it. See, let me tell you something here. A good creative organization wouldn't give a damn about giving up that 3rd round pick because they'll find a way to get it. But I don't know that I trust the Cowboys to find a way to get a 3rd round pick back. You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah. 3rd rounder is where I'm stopping, but boy, I don't know that. If they said, man, we just want your 3rd, it'd be hard for me to say no. Jalen Ramsey on this defense gives you not just a cushion, right, for Trayvon Diggs. He gives you an immense upgrade at the position, and you can wipe that off the board in the draft instead of, I don't want to use the word reach, but instead of having that as a need in the draft, it's eliminated, and you can address a different position. So 100% I would, and I don't want to hear nothing about no damn cap. Because you got bread, and you about to get more when you sign Micah Parsons.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I'm just glad, looking back at it in hindsight, we had to go through a horrible offseason, hopefully a greater later. They didn't sign Mike McCarthy back for a reason, so they didn't get nobody last offseason. So hopefully it's all a part of the plan. Hopefully Brian Schottenheimer comes in and locks in with Clayton Adams. He did put together a great coaching staff, in my opinion. So I'm a bit optimistic about this season with Clayton Adams and everybody else, Eberflus and stuff, and just hopefully they lock in during the draft.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. But I just happened to look over here at Professor O. So Professor O, did she shut this down? I didn't see her tweet it, but Professor O said Jane Slater shut the Jalen Ramsey thing down immediately. So there goes our dream.
Dang, well, oh well.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, what it is. Not that I expected it to happen, but damn, it'd have been nice to dream a little bit more than a few hours. But it is what it is, man. Hey, appreciate the call, brother.
Yes, I appreciate you, Scott.
She shut it. Why she always? It's like she just get off on that, you know. Professor, when did she come out and say it? I don't see it tweeted. God damn, Jane. And there was a point in time where it was a 1 year at least where Jane was just wrong, bro. Like somebody was giving her bad info. But in general, I tend to like, all right, Jane, you is connected, so I ain't gonna like dismiss you. Oh, my bad. Professor O, he was joking. She ain't shut it down yet. Okay, cool. Because they definitely need to be in on this. Rolo. Now, see, I don't think they can do this because he hurt, but he said trade Diggs and his one leg for Ramsey. Is that too messy? Would. Diggs late, man, but we should have had Jalen Ramsey anyway. Hey, Tuck, did you tweet about this yet? Let me go ahead real quick. I know Tuck tweeted. Shout out to my boy Tuck. He shouted us out on Twitter. I know Tuck tweeted about Jalen Ramsey. Wow, I'm actually surprised Tuck ain't jump on this one. Diggs for Jalen Ramsey? Yeah. Yes. I'll just leave it at that. Matt said would, all caps. Come on, man. Yeah, my bad, Professor O. I didn't mean to throw you out there like that. She eventually gonna say it though, and Professor O gonna be right. Okay, so Tuck said that was McCarthy just giving her rant. Yo, y'all know, you know what I'm talking about, Tuck. There was 1 year where she was just wrong, dog. Like me and Vosh used to have a laugh about it, how wrong she was on these things. But it's still Jane. She's still plugged. She's still plugged. All right, that's going to do it, man. If you missed today's show, good one today. Good one. We talked about 3 guys that I feel need to be elevated by the coaching. And that's not taking pressure off these guys, right? Like I'm not alleviating pressure from a Terrence Steele, a Osa Digizua, a Kavontae Turpin. It's just that these coaches, Clayton Adams, Brian Schottenheimer, Eberflus, they need to get the best out of these dudes if the Cowboys want to get to where they need to go. And I know the Turpin one might be like, what? But yeah, if Turp can be a threat, if Turp can be a guy that teams have to think about when he is on the field, that just helps your offense. It doesn't make it worse. It helps it. He's one of the few explosive guys you got on the damn team. And it's not like you're going to add a bunch of them in the draft. I would love to. We'll see. But 100% he needs to be involved. So make sure y'all run it back. With that said, man, appreciate you guys. Usually this be the time where we do our super chats. But again, man, when you restart stuff, YouTube crazy, man. You get approved for this, and then it's like, oh wait, we still need that. So all that stuff is still getting going. I'll drop it in the chat. My Cash App, if you guys want to do that. Chill Will 1026. Apologies for the super chat stuff. It was on, then it went on. I don't know, man. Trying to figure all this out. Starting all over is still a process. We'll get to it, but it's all good, man. Shouts out to my guy Pat. Just dropped. We got the WrestleMania preview show dropping here shortly. Get ping. Okay, dropping here shortly. It should have been dropped, but it's cool. We got it coming for y'all. If you guys are into WrestleMania, shouts out to Tuck too. By the way, I was able to go to WrestleMania because Tuck gave me, or I bought the tickets from. They didn't give them to me, but bought the tickets from Tuck years ago when they came to Dallas. Man, made a childhood's born dream come true. Dog, that was amazing. So appreciate you for that. But WrestleMania is in Vegas this year. Would have loved to go, but it is what it is. We're going to be covering it live Saturday, Sunday. Me and the Anu Wrestling crew. It will be a reaction show, so it'll be so much fun. So make sure y'all join us then. All right? With that said, I'm going to go ahead and press this button. Y'all know I'm still rusty. I got to find the goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn
button. Almost press the wrong button again. Oh, I ain't going, Tuck. I would have loved to go. I really wanted to. If I was still in Dallas, I told my lady, I said, shoot, I ain't gonna go to the actual event, but I'll go to everything around it, you know. And I know Vegas is just second home, Tuck, so I'd have definitely hit you up like, yo, weekend trip in Vegas, we ain't gotta go to Mania. We just kicking it. We out of here. Love y'all. Peace. Oh, Matt's a beast, man. I know you're gonna be there. You're at all the WrestleManias, bro. I actually met Matt at WrestleMania. Got a picture with my favorite belt of all time, the Big Eagle. In the spirit of WrestleMania.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.